Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dads, listening to Tomcats, talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Love will abide. Take things in stride. Sounds like good advice, but there's no one at my side. I will never, ever listen to that song again without crying. I tried to build an immunity today and listen to it on repeat for a few minutes, and I listened to it like 5 times. I cried 5 times. You know what I'm saying?
It's impossible.
It's impossible. Hello, everybody. Welcome in to the Penny Bloom Podcast. The Last of Us is what we're talking today. Episodes 1 through 3. By the titles, When You're Lost in the Darkness, and Episode 1, Episode 2, Infected, and Episode 3, Long, Long Time After That Song by Linda Ronstadt.
Ooh,
I'm Colton Robertson. I'm joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up, what up? It has been long overdue to talk of this show, and I'm glad we can finally get to it.
It's been goddamn tempting.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
This one up.
But, although nice to have a show just to sit back, watch 3 episodes. We didn't plan to cover this at all. Our plan was actually to never cover it, or maybe do a halftime heat check was our initial plan. Stay away, have a show that we can just watch. And then, goddamn it, got way too good, and it's probably going to be the best show to come out, I don't know, in the last, I don't know how many years, if it keeps this pace up. So I don't want to get, too excited or anything. I'm going to keep my expectations low. But, these episodes at least have been some of my favorites already.
Episode 3 alone is on the level of the esteem I hold the best episode of Andor. No episode of the House of the Dragon touched episode 3 for me. There are few episodes of Game of Thrones that touch this level for me.
You're right. This episode, it's not just we cried. I mean,
it was.
I broke down.
It was a fucking shit show, buddy.
Oh my God.
I'm sitting here. We'll get there.
Yeah,
We're going to try and take this episode by episode. It's going to get hard to hold back until episode 3. But god damn, man. The Last of Us has been a fucking banger, created by Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann. Neil Druckmann being the creator of the video game, and Craig Mazin being the showrunner. They're co-showrunning, sort of. Craig Mazin so far has had a hand in writing all the episodes, and he also was the showrunner for Chernobyl. I don't know if you remember that.
Yes, I watched it. I did see that, and it was so good. HBO just has a thing about just making really good TV shows about anything. I guess it's just the budget, really. I think they just really budget to make it look good and to make it
But
I don't know, the writing. I guess it's
the writing has to be there. The direction has to be there. All these things have to be there, and Craig Mazin being the showrunner for both these shows, I think makes a lot of sense, especially given the sort of vibe we get out of the first episode is very, very, foreboding, disaster looming. That was a hell of a premiere, and frankly, my favorite pilot, and I don't know how long. It washed Andor's premiere, it washed House of the Dragon's premiere, and those being the 2 most recent shows we watched and loved. That feels like a good comparison.
I guess Westworld's premiere, but
no.
Nothing is stacking up to this. No.
This is one of the best pilots I've ever seen in my life. And apparently these first 2 episodes are incredibly video game
accurate, like
Oh,
to
yeah.
a shot
That's
by shot.
That's like all I've seen. I haven't played the game, so I've seen a couple clips here and there of like before the show started and stuff, but like now just seeing the actual side by side of the TV show and video game, and like literally it's line by line. Outfits are exactly the same.
Mm.
Like, I mean, as a video game fan, I haven't heard or not me as the video game fan, but as I've heard from the video game community, it's been like, this has been like exactly what someone would want from their favorite video game to become a show. Finally,
and I like this is just good TV, homie. Pedro Pascal fucking dominating the role of Joel Miller. Bella Ramsey is absolutely crushing Ellie. Like, this has been incredible, and I'm so excited to dig into it. So let's start with episode 1. All in all, like I said, fuck yes, this episode was outstanding. And that opening in 1968, I have never watched a scene set a tone for a series better. Like, this is a cold fucking open, buddy.
It's my favorite scene of the episode. Even with everything that happens, it's my favorite scene.
To being mine. It was damn close to being mine.
I mean, I opened the show, I'm expecting, like the only thing I'm going into the show knowing is like zombies-esque, like it's some infected something, and Joel, I knew the name Joel, and I knew he protected a young girl, like just a young person. I didn't even know it was a girl, or I had no idea. I just knew he protected like a young child. That was it. And then I'm like, open it up in like in 63 was it or something like that? Like
68.
68, and I'm like, okay, this is not what I expected at all.
No, right.
But by the end of it,
that's all. That's all you get. Like, oh my god! And the way that like it, the tone is like, it's a talk show. It's fun. It's laughable. Dr. Newman's like, yeah, wars happen, like diseases.
Or you
happen.
get your LSD.
We always overcome. We always overcome.
Mm-hmm.
But
always win. Oh,
that's a problem. Now, what do you mean by that, Doctor? Well, if they would just take over our bodies, inhabit our brains, and absolutely kill us.
That's the thing, is that I was watching this and I'm like listening to it and I'm like, well, this is all sounding actually like real. Like all of this sounds real, but this is TV. I'm not going to just straight up believe that this is like scientifically real, like whatever. And then I'm like, I go and pull my phone after the episode, and it's like, oh, yeah, we have like evolved to not let fungi infect our bodies, and like, or maybe not for that reason specifically, but it's there.
Yeah. But what would happen if the world were to get slightly warmer?
That's the thing, is that we are living in that current phase right now,
and they know that. They know that. That's why it's there. It's there to horrify us.
And that's the thing, is that like this process for fungi to evolve to adapt to that temperature, it would take hundreds of years. That in itself would take a long time, probably. The more dangerous part is just everything else that happens. I mean, that is the danger of global warming or climate change isn't just the temperature getting hotter. It's just everything else that comes with it. That's the danger. And that's like, I love a show that I hope more people are, getting a little woken up to this idea. It's science isn't all happy sunshine and rainbows. Sometimes it comes down to surviving, and, it's not all good news. And that's exactly what we saw on TV whenever the bad news was given. So what if that happens? We lose. We'll be right back. Let's cut to break.
We're gonna take a break. And then the cut to black and the fucking theme kicking in, I was like, oh,
instantly. Okay. Yeah, and like the title card is the spreading of the disease. So it's like, oh dude, you're like, it's already happened. I don't know. It was super cool. And I don't know if I'm
incredible beginning.
I don't know if I'm wrong in this. I wanted to get your opinion on it. Whenever the doctor or professor, I forgot what the pandemiologist or epidemiologist or whatever.
Yeah.
He says, billions of puppets with poison minds permanently fixed on one unifying goal: to spread the infection to every last human alive by any means necessary. While he says this, it's showing the crowd all blank-faced, no reaction.
No, you read that exactly right.
I mean, it seems to me that they're trying to say that, like, the infection is already spread. Not the literal infection, but, like,
No, yeah.
you're hearing this right in front of you. It's plain English. There's nothing super hard to understand, and they are not reacting the way they should. They should be scared out of their minds hearing this. Like, this should scare anyone. Like, the reaction in episode 2, I know it's jumping the gun, but that the scientist had after she realized what has happened. That's the reaction you have to, like, that's
Okay.
when it really happened. But
I read it different. I read this as them being scared. As them being,
so they were scared and didn't know what to.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they did what you would have to do if that happened, which is nothing. There's nothing you can do. If that happens, we lose. And what are they doing? They're just sitting there. Like, well, there's certainly one white guy in the crowd going, well, at least the world's not getting any warmer. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Ooh. What an opening to a show.
No, yeah, that was incredible. And it takes us after the theme song into Outbreak Day on September 26th, 2003, where Sarah is preparing breakfast for her father, Joel, notably out of pancake mix. Couldn't get pancake mix. Very important when they figure out that that's what caused the spread. It getting into these sorts of things. Also very important later on, he didn't get a birthday cake. He forgot to get a birthday cake.
Oh my God. It's actually important.
Yes.
Like, actually, like, not just a loose detail thrown in. It's actually, like, character development, though. Mm-hmm. Like, at the same time. I didn't even...
There's that line in episode 3 where he starts listing off things. He goes, in basic ingredients like flour, sugar, and then he takes, like, a long pause and he, like, thinks to himself and he goes, pancake mix. Like...
Oh my God. Yeah, because in episode 2, they literally say, like, it was from a factory worker.
Bread factory, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yep, out of pancake mix, forgot to get a cake. Joel saved them from being infective inadvertently.
No. Man, no, it couldn't get worse, I thought,
Yeah, right. Well, man. I mean, like, I think that kind of, there's a little bit of everything there, but, yeah, his brother Tommy enters the scene, and they're like, you meet Gabriel Luna's Tommy, who I think is also fucking awesome. Cannot wait until we get more of him in here because I love me some Gabriel Luna. But you could tell they have a really nice relationship, Joel and Tommy. As nice a relationship as Joel is capable of having with another person.
So far.
Yes, so far. And Sarah is a little bit, down about the fact that Joel's going to have to work today on his birthday. And Joel's like, it'll be all right. I'll be home by 9 and everything will be all right. And Sarah goes off, gets ready for school, grabs $60 and a broken watch from Joel's drawer and heads on out as she plays with the blade of his knife after and put it right back. Also very impressive on this girl to be able to close one of those knives because I am terrible at that. I've never been able to do it.
What was she had the knife and then, like, because fully in my mind, I'm like, oh, something's going to scare her, she's going to cut herself, or whatever. Yeah, it's right. Like, I don't know, that's in my mind. The horn honked, and then she just didn't cut her, like, nothing happened. I'm like, I don't know why they focused on that knife. Like, I don't know. It just seemed like it was important for some reason. Like, she really, and, like, the music swelled first at that moment when she was, like, holding it in her hands. I don't know. I didn't know if I was missing something.
I'm not sure. I think it was, I don't really know what it was supposed to be. I'm assuming there's going to be some sort of significance tied to this knife that comes back around because in the next episode, we watch Ellie play with a knife and Joel go, that's a nice knife. Where'd you get it? And,
I think it's then right now it's seen as like a thing of, craftsmanship, a tool, but like, in their world, it is seen as like you need a knife.
You need a knife.
It is that is a valuable, that's like it's worth probably, I don't know. Like that's probably because
you know how much this is worth?
Yeah.
Nothing anymore.
The rewatch is way different.
Oh,
like,
yes.
Rewatching him is way different. And
there's a lot, especially this scene continues. Joel starts packing the car. Sarah makes a deal with her neighbor, Danny Adler, to come over after school and bake cookies.
Oh, no, and biscuits and she's eating biscuits.
And again, Joel notes that he's on the Atkins diet. He hasn't been eating carbs. He's been good for weeks, like
that was actually legit.
Yeah,
that's legit. I thought he just made that up on the spot just to get out of eating biscuits, but that's actually,
there's a distinct possibility that that's the case. But
that would make sense though. That would okay.
Yeah, but after school, it's the watch on over to get it fixed, and Nazir is like, you know what, I can fix this for 20, and she's like, really, that's it? And he's like, I can make it 30, and she's like, no, that's good, we're good with 20. And as he fixes it, police cars and fire trucks and ambulances zoom by, especially after mention of something happening in Jakarta at breakfast. You're like, wonder what's going on today. Something bad's happening. It's The Last of Us. Jakarta being mentioned at breakfast, where we kick off episode 2.
Yeah, and I love how it was like, is that somewhere in the Middle East? Definitely a country, though, for sure a country. Yeah, Joel, you're right. Yeah, for sure a country. And then, he gets there coming in like, wow, not even a country. By the way, it's just the capital of Indonesia. Like, I love, knowing where her story goes. They make you care as much as you possibly can about her as quickly as you can,
we are 27 minutes into this episode and I am sobbing, 27 minutes into a season of television and I'm already crying my fucking ass off. But anywho, Nazir finishes up fixing the watch as his wife comes out and demands that they close the store. He can't finish fixing the watch. She has to leave, and she recommends he goes straight home. Or she goes straight home and, rushes her out of the store, closes up shop, and Sarah's left to head on over to the Adler house, where she questions Connie about everybody being on edge, it seems like. There's...
Ooh. Did one little note I actually took. It's a quick 30 seconds, but it's just her in school. Actually, like, one of the most accurate depictions of school that I've seen in TV in a long... Like, a lot of it is, like, they're in school and then all the stereotypical movie school stuff happens, whatever. This was just...
Someone throws a paper airplane across the room.
This was just, I'm in class, the teacher is literally saying, copy this down word for word. Maybe that's a little cheesy, corny, whatever, but the teacher had, like, one line. They had to say something to get the point across. Yeah. But, like, the actual distractions that she's having, her just being zoned out completely, and then her, like, leaving. Like, I love how it was just, like, very, like, school. Obviously, she goes to school, Joel's going to work, and they showed it. I don't know, it was just very real. Like, the show is just felt very real.
Well, and it's also used to build tension. We're passing time, she's zoning out, there's, like, you're like,
something's gonna happen. Yeah, that's the thing, is that something's gonna happen the whole time, and you're like,
well, and it's not even just because there is a distinct lack of music pretty much the entire episode.
Ooh.
And when you sit in silence during a TV show or movie, you naturally go, what the fuck is about to happen?
That's interesting.
Yeah,
I didn't even think about
music
that.
And dialogue at multiple points. Like, there's a lack of music whenever you're able to hear the sirens go by. Just that stuff is there, so you feel on edge. Like, and they do a really good job at it. So she heads on over to the Adlers and she asks about the heavy law enforcement, and Connie's like, well, people need to get right with God. One cross plus 3 nails equals 4 given. And I was like, that is the funniest shit I have ever heard.
Just asked if everything was okay. She was like, hey, I just got home from school. I don't watch the news. I'm a kid. I don't have access to the internet, I guess, yet, because it's 2003. Is everything okay? You got to get right with Jesus, kid. I don't know what else to tell you. Just go to church and everything's gonna, like, what?
Clearly worked out for Mrs. Adler here.
Yeah.
After baking cookies with Connie, Sarah works on some homework while Connie feeds her mom, Nana, who is clearly suffering from some sort of dementia or aphasia or something, can't speak, and kind of sitting in the same spot. And Connie leaves to take the cookies out of the oven, and Sarah enters the room with Nana, checking out Connie's DVD collection, and she finds Curtis and the Viper too. But while she's looking at it in the background, you start to see Nana acting all clicky. Opens the mouth real wide, and I like that they never like focus.
Mm-hmm. It was blurry the whole
all
time.
Blurred out of focus, and you're like, no, get the fuck out of that house, buddy. Leave, please. And
then nothing.
Nothing for a little bit. Like, that's just it for now. And then that raises the tension even more, and you're like, fucking fuck.
You're like, Connie, is this it? Is this it? And then no. Nope, not quite.
Not yet.
But
Connie agrees to lend her the DVD, and Sarah's like, you know what? I got to leave. Joel's going to be back from work soon, or my dad's going to be home from work soon. We know him as Joel. She doesn't. Connie's like, take some cookies before you go, and she politely declines. And she also notices...
Damn it.
Yep.
Man, I didn't even think of this aspect until now.
Yeah, I didn't either until the third episode when he explains it expressly. You know, like I didn't think much of it when the mycologist in Jakarta is talking about how it started in a bread factory and stuff. But when Joel gives that express explanation to Ellie, I'm like,
yeah.
And then I rewatch it, I'm like, fuck, oh my god. Anyway, as she's walking out, she notices the Adler's dog Mercy sitting quietly and perfectly still, staring at Nana. Hey,
I was about that.
Yep. If your dog is sitting there staring at somebody,
call 911.
On edge.
Just
get out of.
I don't know if it's a loved one. Be ready for anything. Like,
they might be infected by some sort of fungal.
No, I'm like, legitimately, dogs can actually sense like heart attacks before they happen. Like, this is real. Like, dogs do this. Like, they legitimately have, like, they sniff so good, they can sniff, like, the difference of your pores and blood and shit, whatever. They legitimately can, like, sense, like, strokes, and not every dog will just sit like this if you're about to have a stroke and do it, but, like, trained enough to, like, if a dog is doing this, just maybe think a little more into it, because, like, there is a reason behind it.
Right. Yeah, but...
Which... I don't know, it's surprising, like, everything in this show is, like, really hardcore based in science.
Yeah,
like, a lot of it.
Accurate. Yeah.
Like, I mean, a lot of it. And, like, I don't know, I was just on Twitter all the time, like, and just, they did a lot of research just on fungi, a lot, obviously.
I'm assuming,
and, some things are changed that we'll get into, but, like, everything, like, up to this point has just been, like, pretty much how the world... Like, it seems just very real. Like, how it would happen I don't know. It's very, very strange. Very creepy.
Horrifying. But yeah, after that, Joel comes home an hour late from work without a cake, much to Sarah's disappointment, but for her own good. I mean, who knows if it's for her own good. She dies anyway. But, however... She quickly cheers up and gives him his 2 birthday presents, a watch she had fixed for him with his own money, and a copy of Curtis and the Viper 2 from the Adlers. And the two she falls asleep in his lap after he expressly tells her, don't fall asleep while we watch this movie. And I also love that the movie is called Curtis and the Viper because Pedro Pascal's character in Game of Thrones is known as the Viper.
Is that why?
I'm almost certain that's little older.
That's sick. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, it being HBO and all, I bet there's something there.
But, yeah. Okay. Cool.
Sarah falls asleep in his lap, which was adorable. I almost picked this as my favorite scene because it's just so, like, the only good moment I have a feeling that they'll have ever. But Joel watches the movie after she's fallen asleep, and he receives a phone call from Tommy, who's in jail for assault. There was somebody at the bar harassing a waitress and fighting a bunch of people, and he had to knock the dude out. He was crazy. And homie was infected. And Joel was like, God damn it, Tommy. All right, yep, I'm on my way. Where you at? And he goes ahead, carries Sarah to her room, tucks her in, and leaves the house at 11 p.m. We cut to 2:15. Sarah's waking up to the sound of helicopters. And she gets up to find Joel is not home. And she turns on the TV to see an emergency alert system. Still, I don't believe there's music. Like, you are still just hearing the sound of the environment.
Oh, that's just terrible. You're like, we're just experiencing it with
you are in
them.
it, you know?
Oh.
And she turns on the TV emergency alert system, stay inside your homes, and she is startled when Mercy starts pounding at her window and heads outside to comfort him. If a dog is ever this insistent to get in your house, just let him in. You don't need to
go outside. Let them in, close the door. Like,
especially when there's an emergency alert system telling you to stay inside.
You know, my thought was like, okay, get dog inside because I like dog. And then I don't go. I maybe look out, you know, be like, okay, what's going on?
Yeah.
And then I see a few explosions, and then I'm probably like, I'll close my door for now.
Yeah.
You know?
Balls, bro.
Yeah,
Ain't no way I'm doing this. And like, also on a real note, even if there's not a disaster happening, if a dog that you know is this insistent to get inside, probably not having a good time at home, go ahead and let that dog in. Especially if you pet them for a couple seconds and they're very appreciative. You should go ahead and take care of that dog, at least for the night. But as she looks up, she keeps seeing military aircraft fly by, and she tries to bring Mercy back to the Adlers, but he decides, nope, that's the last place I'm going. I'm leaving. And sadly, we never see Mercy again. That's just it for Mercy.
Headcanon.
Mercy lived a full life.
Yeah, he did. You know, he would be dead in present time, in dog years, unless he's the oldest dog of all time.
Yeah, right.
But like, I mean, maybe dogs are immune. You know, maybe they only found out how to live in humans, right? Like, you know, maybe. Has it been confirmed that it's in any animals or anything?
No, I don't think so.
So yeah, Mercy's fine.
She lived a full life.
Mercy's fine.
Anywho, Sarah walks into the Adlers to find Danny sitting against a kitchen wall with blood pouring out of his neck. And she sees Nana sucking the life out of Connie. And Nana, with her tendrils pouring out of her mouth, sees Sarah and just stares at her for a few seconds before bolting at her. And Sarah's like, I should have stayed inside. And just then, thankfully, Joel and Tommy are pulling up. And Joel urges Sarah, get in the truck. Get in the truck. And she's like, the Adlers, and Nana runs outside, trips on the doorstep, and they watch in awe as she crawls. And Joel has to strike her in the head with a pipe wrench. Sarah's like, holy shit, you killed her. Joel's like, all right, it's going to be okay. It's not just the Adlers. We have to go. And Transformer.
For this scene on is why Nico Parker is actually getting my performance nod for this episode.
From this point on is why Pedro Pascal.
I know. And it was hard. It was hard. I was like, man, it's either Pedro Pascal or Nico. Oh, yeah. There's no question about it. It's which one am I going to choose? But like Joel goes to work for a lot, and we're just with her like at the beginning for a long time, and you're just getting to like her. But then whenever she goes into the Adler's house, the camera like on her face, the tears like in her eyes, her like breathing, starting to breathe heavily, like her just starting to get anxious, like that was just crazy. Just starting here, and then like her in the car, like, oh, dude,
she got it from her mama, bro. She got it from her mama, Thandiwe Newton of Westworld fame, Maeve. That's her mom in real life.
That did not just happen.
Yeah.
This is Maeve's daughter in real life.
Yep.
Okay, I shouldn't call her Maeve in real life.
No, yeah, Thandiwe Newton. Yeah.
But wow. That's even better.
Yeah.
Wow.
The HBO, man, they keep it in the family for sure.
Was this the girl that was in Westworld 2 as Maeve's daughter? Or that was just a...
So.
Okay.
That was a different girl. But still, talented actress here, apparently, because she killed this first episode. And I'm sure she has a bright career ahead of her after this specifically. But yeah, she's like, he's like, get in the fucking car. Tommy runs over and infected Connie hits her, and before they got in the car, Denise had ran outside, the neighbor across the street, and I love Joel going, "Get back inside your fucking house, Denise, and stay there. Lock the doors." And
Yep.
and
Okay.
Denise tries to go out there and help, but Danny attacks her, and that's it. Sorry,
Yeah.
R.I.P. Denise. And while driving to an alternate highway, they pass multiple police officers, and this is where my favorite scene begins. The drive. This shit in the car was insane.
Yeah.
And apparently, like, shot for shot perfectly from the video game.
I was wondering how they actually shot this in the show, though, because like
the way it like turns.
it was like you could kind of tell the driving was fake sometimes, and like the outside was being tracked. Like, it was they weren't really in the truck, but like other times they were like really in a truck. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like there were some shots where it was undeniable they were driving.
You are in
like,
car, right?
and like sometimes I just like couldn't tell the difference. It was just like done.
No, it was
very well. Yeah,
exquisitely well done. And another thing that's important about this scene for me is that Joel and Tommy both have military experience.
Yeah, the bumper sticker. I forgot about that. It did say that he
survived a Desert Storm. I think. Was it Desert Storm? I think it was.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
He knows.
It wasn't like a Marines. It wasn't like a.
I think it might have been a Marine. I think for some reason Desert Storm was on it in my head. I don't know why, but regardless, these two have military experience. He knows it's not just the Adlers. We have to get the fuck out of this city before the military bombs us. It's not just we have to get out of here to not be infected. We have to leave or we will be bombed.
Yeah.
And that's intense. Because Sarah's in the backseat worried about something else completely. Like Joel and Tommy are up front, like, all right, what's the quickest way out of the fucking city? How the fuck can we get out of here? They pull up, they see that giant thing of the military, and they're like, oh God, head east. Like, let's go or south or wherever the fuck. And he's like, just go to Mexico or something. I don't know. This whole thing was fucking crazy. The farm in flames, and Joel convinces Tommy to not stop for a family with kids. And he's like, they have a kid. And he's like, so do we. Keep going.
Man.
Big character moment for Joel, letting us know what kind of guy he is.
Good dad.
That's good dad, potentially not a good man.
That's the thing. In this situation, I asked myself, like, I'm like, what do I do in this situation? Like, obviously I don't know the extent that it's going to cause a global everything's about to change. I don't know. But like, I don't know. That everything's blowing up. Everyone's infected. You have no idea who's sick. They do have I don't know. That's the thing, is like, it does seem very immoral just to leave him and let him go. But like,
but if you're in that situation, you almost have no choice. He even rationalizes it to himself. Someone else will come along. We're not the only ones who are driving this way.
He knows even they will make the same decision that he's going to make. It's like him saying that is just to comfort himself. So like, he knows he's doing the immoral thing, but it's right for his family.
That's why I'm saying. That's why I say like it's important to make the distinction that he's a good dad, potentially not a good man, willing to make the tough decision. But regardless, Tommy continues to race toward town and is suddenly astonished to see 3 jets flying very low over them, and his path is blocked by law enforcement vehicles. So Tommy decides to detour through some alleyways, which is tons of people panicked and infected, and Tommy feels uneasy about following Joel's suggestion to drive through them. Just go ahead. They're dead anyway. And as a large crowd runs out of a theater in front of them, they're like, all right, drive back. And Sarah notices that there is an airplane that is definitely going to crash on the road. So they're in. They have to stop. Not in time. The debris hits them, and they're all passed out for at least a couple seconds. And while the truck is totaled, Sarah sees infected nearby. Joel grabs Sarah, whose ankle is injured, and exits the trunk with Tommy on the other side. He's like, when a law enforcement pulls up and just destroys the car.
And I was this little separation that they had. I'm assuming it just had to happen. Like they had to separate for the story, whatever. And like I was and it was just actually like a not sort of cheesy, just in chaos. They happened to get separated, and that's just how it happened. It was done very there
are a lot of things about this that not in a bad way are very video gamey. This is very video gamey.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like, the level, like literally him, like holding her, turning like that. It's like a cutscene, and then it's like, get her out of here, Joel. And it's like, now you're playing as Joel carrying her through there. Like it was perfect out of a video game. But I freaking was sat down in lecture, one of my classes. They talked about this scene of the airplane crashing. And they were like, don't worry, we're not going to spoil anything. It's in the trailer of this airplane crashing. We just want to let you know why it crashed or why it might have crashed, because it does make sense. And I was my teacher changed what we learned that day just because of The Last of Us. And and it's crazy. Like now, every single time a plane or anything is in a movie, I'm thinking about all of just the math behind it. I mean, it is my degree, I guess, so it's fair. But like now that I specifically was taught of it in a show that I was watching, every time a plane has cut, like even in Bad Batch, like watch it today, I was like just thinking of it. Like it's sad. It's sad now that I freaking this beautiful drive scene. Now I can only think of the math and why this plane crashed, and it actually makes scientific sense. And the long story short, bunch of planes take off at once. All of that air that's behind the planes, it's still just spinning violently. You don't see it just because it's air, but it's still just going just because a massive airplane just went through it, and they just sent like 6, at the same time. So like, it's like 20 minutes, or not 20 minutes, but like, you have to wait like 20 minutes or so before you can like take off safely behind another plane, and they were just shooting them, So it's like, eventually, behind the line, one of them's just gonna get caught in that wash and just boom and go down. And that's like so it's like it's either that they were legit pilots getting people out, so they actually had the training to fly, or people are just hijacking these planes, and an idiot just tried to fly a plane and crashed it because they didn't know how to fly a plane. But like, who knows? That's what my teacher said. He's like, obviously, I'm not going to tell you that that's what happened in the show because there's an apocalypse happening, and I can't tell you that every
could
person
literally
on that
be
plane,
an infected, broke into the fucking cockpit and sucked the neck of a fucking pilot.
Anyway, all of this long blah 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 is like the opening. Everything is like going back to the opening of the show, the science in '63. They're like, oh, this new thing, the airplane. If people got into it, then the panic for a global pandemic arose because of planes and because of like worldwide travel made easy. That is why a global pandemic became like possible as fast as it could become. It could become possible quicker. And you see Sarah in the car. She's like, what if it's everywhere? That's what she asks. And instantly, that's when it cuts up to the plane. Yeah. And then it crashes down. And it's just, we know everything we need to do right now to prevent like this from happening, but we won't do it because it just, I don't know. It's like, it's so far out there. It's so far out there, and it's so much of an inconvenience. Like it's not going to happen in people's minds, and it's like, we don't need to. But when we get to episode 3, at least, I think I'm like kind of thinking about becoming a prepper a little bit.
Oh, I will for sure.
Like,
I was like, yo, I need to train.
Mm-hmm. Like, what if this shit does go down, and if I am in the state I am right now, I'm fucked. Like, no, I don't know. Like, I need to just get some knowledge of surviving. Like, I need to know how to survive out. I don't know.
Yeah, because I sure as shit could not at this point.
That's for sure. Yeah, no.
But they go ahead and split up at that point, and since Sarah can't run, Joel is carrying her through the burning town, stumbling upon a group of infected, and one of them notices Joel and decides to chase him into a diner. And the runner, this part's kind of funny. I think anytime someone like runs completely out of control and just runs through shit is so goddamn funny to me.
I mean, he ran into those racks or whatever. Like,
buddy.
oh my god, that had to hurt, man.
Being
Like,
just
man,
tossing himself into
yeah,
shit. It is
that
so
stunt,
funny to me.
man. Goddamn.
Unexpectedly, though, they find themselves outside the diner, and this guy, this infected, gets shot. And Joel tries to convince the soldier here, we're not sick. And the soldier's like, all right. And he talks to somebody. Yeah, I've got 2 here say they're not infected.
No.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And he puts the comm down and raises the gun back up. And again, this part of the episode, the way Pedro Pascal is looking at this guy is what makes me go, oh my fucking God. Because he knows, again, the military.
He's a military man. He knows exactly what they're doing.
He just got told he has to kill us. And I know he did. I understand why, but goddamn, not me, not now.
Yep.
And he's only grazed by a bullet. Only grazed by a bullet, and I think grazed by a bullet on his head.
Is that the scar that they talk about later?
That scar, I think, because he's bleeding from his head.
Yeah.
But he also fell quite a ways. So I don't know. But nevertheless, he's almost shot by the apologetic soldier who comes up and he's like, I'm sorry. And Tommy manages to find them and kills him and saves Joel. But they quickly shift their attention towards Sarah, who has been shot in the stomach and is hyperventilating, going into shock. And Joel attempts to move her, but to no success. This line is my favorite because of the performance Pedro Pascal puts on. It's not the line itself.
Not because you like it. Yeah, I get you. You don't like to hear it.
Like the line.
Yeah, you don't like to hear it.
It's more the delivery of it that was insane to me. Like, it's what's making me cry. Like, I already care about Sarah and I really want her to be okay and stuff. But if Pedro Pascal isn't going, no, I know, Tommy, help me. Like, oh my God, dude, I fell apart. I am sobbing at this point. And the way he holds her and rocks her back and forth, oh my fucking God, it wrecked me. And he screams for Tommy to help, and Tommy just goes, Joel. Yeah,
he knew. And Joel knows too. It's just he.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Pure denial. He doesn't want to believe it. Obviously.
No, yeah, it's his daughter dying in his arms.
My God,
I gotta move you, honey. I gotta move you. She's like, and he's like, no, I know. No, I know. Oh my God, this
I remember
shit wrecked me. I showed this to Emily, right? Because I watched the first episode and was like, this show's too fucking good. I'm gonna be watching it on Sunday nights. There's no way you can convince me otherwise. Emily, you need to watch this. We got to this part. She looked at me. She went, fuck you. She went, fuck you. We had to turn it off. I had to turn it off. She was like, I'm not doing this. I won't go through this. And I was like, that is fair.
She didn't continue on?
She didn't continue. I was like, you made a mistake, but I understand, soldier.
If she only got to episode 3.
Well, and that's the thing. It's she's like, I know a show is good whenever I'm not watching it, and it's all that I see on my social media. It's not an algorithm thing at that point.
That's true. Yeah.
It's just that good that many people are talking about it. So this most recent episode and its reception, she's intrigued again. She thinks she wants to get back into it. And I'm good. Yes, you do. Because this episode was so fucking good. But
that cut to black. And then I remember I got the remote and I'm like, just to see how much time has passed. And I'm like,
fucking an hour left.
And I'm what the fuck? So the episode is just now starting? That was just basically the actual opening?
Prologue.
That
prologue.
What? And I'm like, no. I'm already there. I understand her reaction because when I looked at the time, I'm like, no way. I'm already crying at this amount of time. What is about to happen moving forward? Is all I could think. And yeah, it was just. I know I said that the opening was my favorite scene, as in the old talk show opening. As far as this opening, the grand opening, man, I'm trying to think of a better like I guess like Game of Thrones season 1, episode 1 does kick off pretty well, sets up a lot of stories, but like, doesn't even hit even as close to this. Like even just that opening.
I didn't cry when Bran got pushed out of the tower.
Exactly.
You know what
yeah.
I'm saying?
It was just like oh shit.
It was like, okay, well now I gotta watch next,
Yeah.
It wasn't like I was like, oh no, my boy Bran, no. Like I'm feeling that when I'm watching Sarah die, and that's half the time. That's half the time it took to getting Bran falling in Game of Thrones premiere. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's nuts. It's just nuts. But that does end the little prologue there. So we're 20 years later. And there's a young child who's we focus in on the shoes quite a bit for good reason here in a moment. Who's walking real mindlessly across a bunch of ravaged Boston. That was quite the thing to see too. 20 years later, Boston, Massachusetts. I was like, yo, Boston.
That's not the Boston I know.
No, it is not. I hardly know Boston, and I know that's not it.
Yeah, we were in Texas. Yeah, it was interesting I had no idea that the show took place wherever. I don't know. But...
The lingering, how'd you get to Boston? Pass. What about you and Tess? Pass. Ellie asks Joel a couple of questions about how he gets to Boston, what's going on there. So there's something interesting there.
Oh, I guess he went from Texas to Boston. And they were together for a while, so like it had to be quick that he went there.
Yeah, it's not close. It's not close by any means to Texas. So like I'm interested in if we keep getting these sorts of flashbacks and like the bottle episode in episode 3, the way it covered a ton of time, I'd be willing to bet that's not the only type of episode like that we get. Where we do maybe we get an entire episode set where it's like him on his way to Boston or some shit like that.
That is a lot of time in between that I didn't even think of. Okay.
Yeah. She's from Detroit. He's from Texas. Like, how'd they both end up in Boston? Like, I don't know. It's interesting. But nevertheless, he collapses right outside the quarantine zone and he is rolled into a room where infographics regarding the cordyceps infection are posted on the wall. We see a little bit there about if you're bit in a certain place, it's a couple hours. If you're bit in a certain place, it's a couple weeks. So on and so forth, but
if you're bitten in the neck, sorry,
that's minutes.
you don't got long, but I don't know. It's just like it didn't, I guess, really click of how in the baked goods that it spread. Like that really just hit. Like it was just one morning that it was in everybody's food. And if you ate it, you got sick, and that was that. Like I guess it was just it's that fast that it started, got into the
Friday,
food,
started Friday, everything was gone by Monday.
Wow, like oh my god,
insane.
Jeez.
But
this poor kid,
soldier approaches the kid, scans his neck, and even before, like as. I know the color red usually means bad, but even then, when the girl was like, the chick was like, we're going to get you some food, we're going to get you some toys, are you excited, you ready? And he's like, yep, you're going to get all better soon. I was like, this kid's going to fucking die.
I thought, for a second, when it hit red, and I saw her, I'm like, okay, I don't know that maybe that means negative, negative. Right. And I'm like, okay, yeah, like, maybe Boston is like maybe this is like a safe haven somewhere, and
this kid, what's sad about this is that this means this is not the first time she's had to do something.
Oh, she's done this many times. It's
this
been
poor kid, who knows where the fuck he came from? He wasn't in a QZ. He's just been out. Like, where the fuck did this child come from? Like, I'm so excited to explore the way the next episode gets into like the raiders and the people who exist outside that are not
smugglers. Yeah, they say they get it from smugglers, the chicken, or whatever. Like later, so like there's
raiders, there are slavers. Like it's an apocalypse.
Yeah. Oh, okay, true. Yeah. Ooh.
Like who knows what's going on out there? That's the shit. I'm like. Because, zombie stories are cool and all, but they're a little tired. We've seen a lot of them. There's only so much you can do with them.
The Walking Dead already exists.
Yeah.
So like
they have a lot of stuff they could go on. And The Walking Dead dives into raiders and slavers and reapers and ravers. You know, like that is something that exists in that show. So I'm hoping this will act on the same sort of thing, just in a new way. You know, you got Fedra, you've got a governing body that could hunt them down and stuff. Like, that could be cool too. But anyway, after this, Joel and among other QZ residents are burning previously infected, deceased bodies, and a truck arrives with more bodies to burn. And Joel and a woman move to unload it, finding that child's body in a truck. And the woman goes, Joel, I can't do this one. And Joel does it himself. We zoom in on the kid's shoes again to let us know it's that kid. And that's that. He tosses him on the fire, and he blank face, unfeeling. I was like, man, this guy's been through it.
That's what you got to, you have to burn them though. Like, to stop the spread, you have to burn them. And it's just like, what else do you do with that many dead bodies too? It's like, like everything they're doing, it's like, but it makes sense. It's like, it's horrible, but it makes sense. Like, it's what you would have to do, you know? It's like, God, that's just what makes it so much worse while watching. Is just like, it's so devastating. Everything.
It really is. And this is one of many jobs. You know, he's getting paid to do this. He accepts payment from whoever the foreman is. And Joel's like, all right, any other jobs today? And he's like, yep, you can street sweep or you can do sewer maintenance. He goes, which one pays more? That'd be the one with the shit.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
No set jobs. That makes sense. You know, there wouldn't be, you don't go to an office. You don't do anything normally. It's just whatever needs to be done. And man, Joel, he's a working man. He worked a double when the world was. Yeah, when the world was fine.
Collar fellow right there.
Yeah.
He does his shit, you know, but the Boston QZ appears to be a functioning society under a fascist regime by Fedra, where the soldiers impose a strict curfew and rooftops are constantly manned with snipers, and workers paint over graffiti resembling a firefly. That's another thing we notice. And Joel walks into an audience witnessing a public execution, where they're all being hanged for attempting to leave without permission, which is basically all you need to know, that this place is a fascist society.
It is reset. You know,
I think all you really need is, like, everyone out there is already fucked. I think you can go, yeah, you can leave if you want to, just know you can't come back. That's the rule, you know? You don't have to, kill them before they leave. You've lost. You have no chance of taking over the world again, I promise.
Oh, I guess that's right. So they left and they just caught them leaving. And that's what got them.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I guess it's like, okay. Because I guess I thought it was they left and they got caught coming back. And then that's what, like, they're
Maybe it was. But
no, that's probably, because they had people out on the roads with, they definitely just caught them and then killed. Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's already fascist. I already hated it. I wasn't trying to defend it at all.
Right.
The thing I have in my notes for it is that, like, it's just the same as, like, King Joffrey saying you are sentenced to die by, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And they say the same thing. It's like, you are sentenced to death by Fedra Article 1, Section 50. It's like, it's the same thing in different words. It's like, oh man, it's
the name of King Joffrey. Yeah, no, I get
the king of the realm, the protector. It's like, it's the same shit. It's just
Andals and the First Men.
Yeah, it's just futurized, and because why else do you publicly execute? Like, do you to execute in the first place? That's already like a debate. That's already a debate in itself. To do it publicly is like,
it's letting everyone know you do this and this is what happens. Like, that's legit what this is. And like Bill in the next episode in that argument with Frank where he's like, and the government are all Nazis. The government are all Nazis.
Like, well, now it's like, oh man, I can't wait to get there. They have so many great lines.
Gestapo type shit up in Fedra. But a soldier calls Joel aside and they go and meet where Joel is given a considerable sum of ration cards. It's like, you get to eat. And Joel counts it and claims, you're five short. And lacking the money, Lee gives him a pack of cigs. And in exchange, Joel goes ahead and deals the drugs. He gives him some hydros. And Joel asks about the status of a vehicle he wants, and Lee's like, yeah, I've convinced everyone that it's necessary for the acquisition, so it should be cool. And Lee's like, I want 600, or Lee's like, yeah, I want 600 for myself and my 4 accomplices. And Joel's like, no, probably not. Let's go ahead and get that price down. But Lee warns him to stay off the streets due to a increase in violent opposition from the Fireflies and sleep-deprived Fedra soldiers. It's just easier to be off the road. If you are on the road, you might die.
I love how they were like both making threats at each other like the whole time. Like Joel was winning the whole time. He was like coming back and Joel was like shutting him down. But like this one was kind of like the guy was like, hey, you out there? We might make a mistake. I might shoot you, dude. And it's like, man, I don't know. I just realized Fedra is like Hydra and Fed put together. It's like literally fuck the Fed and fuck Hydra. Like Hydra. It's like, wow, it's like perfect.
Well, it sounds fascist as fuck. It's like the Federal Emergency Department Response Agency or something like that. Like,
that's some Fed shit. Just Fed. I mean, it's in the name.
Fed. But this is Feds for sure. One of them gets beaten to death, and it's not Joel. But elsewhere in Boston, Tess is being held in the basement by a guy named Robert and his men, and Robert's like, dude, I am so sorry for ripping you off. I sold that car battery you wanted, and I'm so sorry. And Tess is like, dude, I seriously get it. I've done shit like that. I've done far worse. So was Joel. We'll be fine. Just go ahead and let me go, and everything will be okay. And Robert's like, I don't know, man. What happens if he finds out? And it's the unknown he. At this point, they don't drop Joel's name, but this shit right here, Joel's not even in this scene, and it's why Joel's my favorite character of the episode, because people are afraid of Joel. Joel is a bad motherfucker. You do not want to fuck with Joel. And him being like, yeah, man, I don't know, what if he finds out? And she's like, it'll be fine. He answers to me. I'll tell him to leave you alone. And Robert's like, all right, sure. Explosion. The dudes, his henchmen are killed. And it allows Tess to go ahead and get the fuck out of there. But she emerges on a street, blaring alarms. There's a Firefly fight going on with Fedra right now, and she surrenders and is detained by Fedra. But meanwhile, a young girl is chained to the wall in a room, and a medic walks in, attempting to give the girl a tray of food, which she politely kicks away. And a woman asks her to perform a series of specific actions, to which the girl, calling herself Veronica at this time for whatever reason, impudently complies, does things before she's asked to. And it's like, yep, I get the routine. I've done this so many times before. And again, the Firefly slogan is painted onto the wall, indicating that the Fireflies are the ones who possess this child. And that's isn't that the title of the episode? When you're lost in the darkness, look to the light, or something like that?
When you're lost in the darkness, and that's it. And then the last episode 9, is look for the light. So it like bookends the sandwich. The
Firefly sandwich.
Which is pretty sick, because you're given the Fireflies as they're the terrorists, they're the guys that are just sniping and killing, at the beginning.
That's the revolution.
And then you get the the view of being in Fedra school. Like I wonder if we'll actually get like what Fedra school
I don't know, man.
Looks like,
this whole fucking show's world building is incredible. Like it's really good. But next up, Joel is visiting Abe, who is working a radio caller, and Joel gives him the cigarettes, and Abe's like, yeah, I haven't heard from Tommy in a while, and even with Gabriella and his elder son looking. And Joel sent Tommy a message 3 weeks ago, and is insistent that it has never taken him that long to respond.
Never more than a day, he said.
Never more than a day, which is dangerous. But Joel presses for the location of Tommy's tower, and the man says it's in Wyoming. And the man admits Joel is capable of handling himself. He's like, I know you're a bad motherfucker, man, but that's a hard journey to make. There's a ton of infected, raiders, slavers, and worse things he hears on the radio. And the man begins marking the location on Joel's map when Joel's like, yep, all right, thank you, bye. Good for nothing piece of shit is kind of his attitude. Joel goes ahead, enters his apartment, shifts a dresser, and uncovers a hidden stash. By removing some wooden floor tiles, he takes out a map, studies it for a while, takes a nice little drink, takes some of those hydros. Dangerous combo, but I guess you got nothing to live for anymore, so you just go ahead and do that shit.
Whoa, that was rough. You know, I mean,
yeah,
I don't know, because nothing happened to him immediately before then, right? To like make him. He just knows that Tommy's. Maybe it's just like a last sort of like, I know I'm about to go on this long journey, so let me just get some rest, and this is how I'm going to put myself to sleep. But I guess I was kind of thinking that like this is how he gets to sleep. Like
this is routine.
He's a drug like dealer, you know. He at least sold to this guy, at least, you know. And
no,
I don't know.
This is routine for Joel. This is not a new thing. This is how he goes to bed. And it's revealed here that he still wears the watch that Sarah had fixed for him, and he dozes off, but is abruptly awakened by a nightmare. And that's when Tess enters and joins him in the bed, giving him a little spoonage. And I was like, yeah, me, like that meme that's like, he's just like me. He's just like me for real. That's me to Pedro Pascal in this scene, man.
Oh, Pedro. Yeah, I don't know. And it was nice because like that was the confirmation that the guy is Joel. Was like her coming back in, like just being there, and I was like, oh. You know, I mean, like I know it's Joel. You know, like I know it's Joel, but I'm like, okay, sick. Like knowing that, like
I had no idea. I had no idea.
Really?
I was clueless. I was like, oh, I wonder who this bad motherfucker is, and then it was Joel, and I was like, oh, pimp. Nevertheless,
maybe I got the idea because maybe it was like they focused on Joel right before it switched to the scene before or something, and they're like, your guy. I think maybe it was just in my head, and I just kind of maybe naively assumed that it was Joel.
Right.
But yeah. Huh.
Anywho, in the morning, he's like, oh shit, look at you. You got your ass beat. What the fuck happened there? She's like, I got jumped. And Joel's like, well, I'm gonna go kill him, motherfucker. How's that? And Tessa's like, nah, you can't go all Clint Eastwood on this. They'll go ahead and bounce. We need that car battery. We can't have that happen. And Joel's like, I'm worried about Tommy, boo. What if, I think we need to get out of here. And Tessa's like, yep, let's get the battery and the money. And she's like, you need to calm down, though. Let's hash out a plan and figure this out.
That's my favorite line of the episode, actually, just comes from there. Just specifically, if I have to do like, it's long. She says it's like just getting him to calm down. And she specifically says like, I need you to take a breath. You know, she like specifically gets him to calm down. She's like, telling him don't go all Clint Eastwood or whatever. But like the line specifically, if I have to choose one, it would just be like, I need you to take a breath. It just sums up
the whole thing. Yeah.
Just everything, you know, it's her, knowing exactly what he would do. You know, she knew before she even started to say, she's like, hey, Joel, need you to sit down, take a breath. But you know, I'm just about to tell you something. Like she knows, and she's keeping him in check, and she's not lying about him Joel answers to her.
Well, and furthermore, I don't think it's so much that he listens to whatever she says. It's that he cares about her enough to hear what she has to say. Less so than being like, you know what, you make the calls around here, honey. No, it's like you know
me enough.
You know me better than I know myself, sort of shit. Mm-hmm. You know what I need more than I know what I need.
Mm-hmm.
But a woman walks into a Firefly meeting where she is quickly pressed on the reason behind attacking Fedra, and the woman tells her, follow orders. And her name is revealed to be Marlene, actually played by the same woman who plays her in the video game, which is cool.
Whoa, that's actually sick.
Yeah, nice little crossover there. And she reiterates to the questioner, Kim Timbo, that the Firefly's goal is to restore democracy and freedom by waging war against Fedra, which is when you're like, cool, so the Fireflies are who I'm rooting for. You already knew you probably were, but this was a nice little confirmation.
Yeah, hopefully not Fedra. That was at least just hopefully I'm not rooting for them.
Yeah, right. But she says the Fireflies have been fighting for 20 years and have gained no ground, and she reveals a new plan to distract Fedra while the Fireflies rendezvous at a specific building and leave Boston forever. And Kim asks, why are we quitting? And Marlene's like, well, we're going to smuggle Veronica out west. Marlene shows Kim a note containing a shocking message, and they come to an agreement. We don't know what the message is. It's that this chick's immune.
Like, is that, yeah, like, but that's the thing is that apparently this is a common thing. Getting someone out to this QZ for the promised vaccine. It's been, we've heard this 1,000 times, is what, like, Joel, we never, and it's like.
Well, that's what I think the testing that they do to Ellie is for. I bet she's lasted a hell of a lot longer than anyone they thought was immune has lasted.
Oh, and that's like a test. Okay.
It's to see if she's giving in.
Oh my God! In Fedra, they take in kids if they're positive, kill them instantly. What the Fireflies probably do, like if they have anyone that's infected, is they probably try and like
smuggle
get as much, I don't know, or as much like science or anything as you can out of them, or like try to comfort them. I don't know.
Yeah, it seems to me that Fedra ignores everything they possibly can about it, given what Ellie tells Joel. I go to Fedra school. They don't exactly teach us how their government didn't prevent the pandemic that killed us all, Like,
yeah.
I think they're just kind of like cool ruling over what's left. They're not really worried about fixing anything.
That's fair.
It's like, we run the world now, and that's, they run their little part of the world. They don't run the world. But as Joel watches, Tess negotiates ration cards for intel on Robert's whereabouts, and a man tells Joel that he looks a little lost, likely trying to gauge Joel's reaction to the phrase and assess if he is a member of the Fireflies or sympathetic to their cause. And Joel's like, you know what? I'll fucking kill you. All right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you tell me to look for the light, I swear to God, I'll something like, oh my God, the light. And I was like, damn, Joel. I'm like,
if you tell me to look for the light. Yeah. And goddamn, Pedro Pascal's voice, I'll just never get tired of it. Get tired of it.
That's the thing, though, is that like they really made this Firefly, because this guy was a Firefly, right? Mm-hmm. They really made him seem just like a spreading the word of gospel, but like that's not how. I don't feel like that's how you would do it for a rebellion. Like to spread a rebellion, you wouldn't go up to someone and be like, "Hey, like, you really heard about this cool concept called rebellion?" Like, I don't know. You don't really talk like that. Like, I feel like you wouldn't. It'd be more of like.
I think you talk like that to people who you think could be sympathetic. I don't think you just talk to random people like that. I think he knows Joel doesn't like Fedra, and he's like, "Hey, man, you look for the light,
Yeah, that's true. Okay,
tell me to look for the light, and I swear to God,
hey, he's really just
that's a jaded man right there. He is jaded.
Yeah, he is.
But Tess claims Robert has taken the battery to a red-tagged building formerly used by a man named Miguel, and she suggests that they go through the subway tunnel that night and enter the building from below, taking him by surprise. But next up, we see Veronica attempting to break the chains when rainwater drips from the ceiling onto her face, to which she responds negatively.
Yeah. Something along the lines, yeah. That was good.
I love a good Ellie F-bomb. She is good at like Bella Ramsey, they're fucking killing the F-bombs. They're really good at it. But Marlene then enters and hands Veronica's backpack to her, and sitting next to her, she she's very clearly upset, despite Marlene reminding her, I saved your life. And Veronica allows Marlene to unlock her chains, and Veronica asks, if it's gonna happen. And Marlene's like, no. And then she then asks to leave, to which Marlene goes, no. Marlene reveals that she knows Veronica's real name is Ellie, and that Marlene is responsible for Ellie's placement in Fedra Military School immediately after her birth.
What are you, my mom or something? Do I look like your mom? I love that. That was like, I almost chose that for my line. Just because it was, I don't know, it was actually just funny. Like in the show, it was funny, cute, like kind of a cute moment between. I have no idea what the relationship is actually,
No, right.
and which is very interesting. But
Captives and captee.
yeah, I really liked how she just kind of got on her level, sat down, was like, you know what, take your handcuffs off. I'm going to speak to you like a human now. And it was a nice moment, but I liked the test line a little too much more. But
yeah, nevertheless, the tone becomes a little bit grimmer when Marlene's like, yeah, we're going to leave. And Ellie's like, why do I have to be smuggled? And she's like, you serve a greater purpose, and tells her a secret. And she says, can never be revealed. But therein, Joel and Tess enter the Haymarket North Extension and begin to traverse the tunnel. Tess is quite frightened by a deceased infected whose fungus has grown into the walls. Very brutal imagery that was super fucking cool.
Yuck.
Yeah. And Joel's like, whatever infected him could still be here. And Tess is like, we'll figure it out. Joel's like, you smell that? They're like, yep, gunpowder. Love that. It's like fresh then, like someone just got shot. Blood pours out from under the door. Upon opening, they find a group of recently killed fireflies, as well as the battery, which Tess deems broken. And turning a corner, Joel raises his gun and sneaks up to Marlene and Kim, both of whom have been shot. And all of a sudden, Ellie jumps out of her room, attempting to stab Joel. Hell of a meet cute there. And Marlene and Kim turn around, surprised to see him. They're like, Joel? What the fuck, man? And he's like, yeah, I'm going to hold this gun on this little girl for a while until you explain to me what the fuck's going on. And as the women lower their weapons, Joel's like, all right, interesting. Let's see what we can figure out here. And she propositions Joel to smuggle her, to which Kim, Ellie, and Joel are all like, no. Marlene's like, I will offer you a fully fueled truck, guns, and supplies if you smuggle Ellie to the State House.
She was desperate, but for a good reason, and they picked it up, like she's being very desperate, but I just realized that, like, if Tess doesn't chill Joel out and tell him to take a breath, he actually goes Clint Eastwood and does get this guy to bounce. They don't get this bad, not Joel doesn't find Ellie. They don't go together. I'm assuming for the show, I have no idea if they make it to wherever West is.
Yeah, Wyoming. Wyoming is now the goal. Yeah,
I'm assuming they make it there, or damn close. I'm hoping they make it there.
Right.
But yeah, like none of that happens if he just goes and kills this guy and whatever. I don't know. It's actually nice that they took that little breather, did their own little investigation. I don't know, that was kind of cool. They did it was like a little detective. Like Tess was like, she got like they asked, I don't know, some street vendor, I don't know, some guy, something, and then it led them to the marking, or I don't know. It was just really like a really cool Tess and Joel moment.
No, yeah, I dig it. But they agree. Ellie's struggling, but they agree, and they reach Joel's apartment, and Ellie eavesdrops on Joel and Tess as they discuss the contingency plan to head to Bill and Frank's town, as well as a plan for Tess to scout the area ahead while Joel rests. Using the information, Ellie cracks a portion of a smuggling code given to Joel by who we come to know as Bill and Frank. We didn't know who it was by originally, but now we know. Hidden in his books, deduces that 60s music implies no new information, 70s implies a new message, and when Joel enters, she's like, what do the 80s mean? Joel's like, no, shut the fuck up. And she's like, there was some song that was playing, it was like wake me up before you go, and he's like, fuck, and she's like, haha, I just figured it out.
She's so, I don't know, that very smart, she, even though it's Fedra school, I don't know if it's Fedra, I don't want to give Fedra school the credit, but like, she's got her wits on her, she's very bright.
She's got the shit figured out, certainly, but after that, they go ahead and take a dip on out there. They leave and they emerge from underground, and Ellie's like, holy shit, I'm outside. And
the fuck up and get down. Oh my God.
Jesus Christ. There are fucking searchlights out here. And Yep, they get caught ultimately by Lee, the formerly friendly soldier who bought drugs from Joel pissing on a wall. And Joel's like, "Come on, man, we can figure this out. We can do something here." Tess is like, "Come on now." He's like, "Nope, kneel with your hands behind your head. This is done. I'm not risking my whole fucking career, my life for this. This is it." And as he scans Ellie to see if she's infected, she stabs him in the leg. Joel has to turn around and he sees him holding them at gunpoint. The same imagery. The flashlight under the gun flashing straight at them. It triggers his PTSD, paralleling with the death of Sarah. And as Lee advances, Joel goes ahead and tackles him to the ground and beats him into a pulp. Absolutely obliterates him. And this is not only, I need to do this so that we live. This is what I would have done if I knew what would happen.
Yeah, I don't. And I was wondering if it was. I don't feel like he has. It was just kind of triggering the memories, and it got him to do like. That's just what got him to do that. It's not him finally being like, now I did the right thing. You know, like I don't. No. It's definitely not like. It's like he's not fulfilled. You know, at all.
Not by any means. I don't. It think
was
so.
just like what needed to be done. Like,
yeah, it's what needed to be done, and I think it's also what he wishes he would have done then, or what he could have done then. Not necessarily that it made it any better, it's just something that he wishes he could have done to prevent what happened. And but Tess then picks up the scanner, which indicates that Ellie is infected. And Ellie's like, no.
Joel! She's like, no! She's screaming. Yeah, oh, man.
But she holds her arm out. It's like, you see this shit? This is 3 weeks old. Nobody's ever lasted this long. There's no way that this is a thing. They're like, all right, fine, let's get going. Joel grabs Lee's assault rifle. They head on out. And meanwhile, in Joel's apartment, the radio begins to play Never Let Me Down Again by Depeche Mode, released in 1987. And I like that they picked a song that is so incredibly 80s. Like, even if you have no idea what the song was, you're like, well, that's an 80s song.
Yeah. I'm like, I heard it and I'm like, okay, this is the most 80s sounding song I've ever heard. It's just there's a possibility that it may have been released in the early 90s, possibly, or maybe like late 70s. And I'm like, no, this is just 80s. I'm like, yeah, trouble. Obviously, we're in trouble. But it's nice to know that the 70s mean new message for the 70s song that plays later, you know, because it would be a new message, and then I would assume they would, you know, get a response, and then when that response just doesn't come back, they would go and check it out and then find the note. And then, so like that was probably, I don't know, that's the song that they would play on the radio would be a new message, and that song specifically as well.
Long time, you
like,
mean?
I bet, because Joel kind of has did he have like a connection with that song too?
He fucked with Linda Ronstadt.
Yeah,
whatever it was.
Know, that's just a coincidence. Maybe.
Yeah, like maybe the show. Because Ellie pops the tape in, and he's like, "Oh no!" Like, it's funny that Joel of all people would be like, "Fuck yeah, Linda Ronstadt." Are you kidding?
Yeah, I love how every episode's ended with just like I don't know. Maybe episode 2 didn't actually. Now that I think about it, but episodes like 1 and 3,
episode 2 kind of ends in like silence. Like, it's kind of like a whoop.
Oh yeah,
that's the end. But anywho, let's give this first episode a rating real quick. Let's make this nice and speedy. Enjoyment wise, I'm at like a surefire 10. I was like, this is the best premiere I've watched in a really long time.
I'm right there with you.
Genre wise, don't know how you can go not 10 with the level of suspense they were building. The post-apocalyptic and pre-apocalyptic kind of vibes they were putting at us. It was kind of crazy. It was one of the better apocalypse episodes of TV I've ever watched in my life. Not the best because it gets topped, but it's one of the best. And critically, this is where I'm like, I can go down a little bit. Not by a lot. It's still damn good. Very great contained story, giving us a direction for the season while also giving us full background knowledge of why our characters are the way they are. It's pretty fucking good.
Yeah, I guess here I'd be more at like, because that, I don't think it's a 10. I would know it's a 10 if it was.
I think it's like a 9.
Yeah, 8759 is where I was landing, but like 8 sounded kind of rough.
Yeah, it's
9.
not.
It deserves a 9. It deserves a 9 at least. So
No, yeah, I'm with you.
okay. Yeah, I don't know where the row or the column is there. It's just super small and I can't get it, but I'll fix it in the sheet. But anyways, it would come out to a 9.6666 basically.
So 97%. It's a
yeah,
damn good episode of television. Damn good episode of television. It's not even the best, but let's get on to the second one. Titled Infected. This one is written by Craig Mazin and directed in his directorial debut by Neil Druckmann, the creator of the video game. So cool that he gets to direct an episode of television now because of his game, which is awesome. But we start in Jakarta, where on September 24th, 2003, a mycologist, Ratna Pertiwi, is enjoying a nice little lunch at a cafe, and the authorities abruptly decide to pull her on out. They're like, yeah, you know mycology, right? Let's get the fuck out of here. And if you are a professor, a top professor of mycology in your area, and the government shows up and goes, we have an emergency, we need you out of here, just go, yep, whatever you think is happening, it's the worst.
Yeah, not a good sign. You know, it's in your field, you know, you would like to be called upon, you know, to be needed by the government. But if you're in that field, that's the you know,
it's a rough one.
You don't want to see don't want to see him pull up at your door. No.
But yeah, she gets to examine the body from which a sample was taken, or she examines the sample and she concludes that it's cordyceps. She asks, why was it prepared this way? And she's like, well, that's the way you prepare a sample taken from a human. And she's like, I'm sorry, what the fuck did you just say? And they go ahead and let her take a look at the body, and you know, she goes ahead and cuts her open, where she finds a mold growing underneath her skin, essentially. And then she opens her mouth and reaches in, where she extracts tendrils, and she flips the fuck out, understandably, runs the fuck out of there, and goes on and is like, all right, when did this happen? About 30 hours ago. Well, we're fucked. The authorities inform her, you know, it began at a flour mill. 14 workers have gone missing. How do we avoid the spread? She's like, well, we would need a vaccine, a medicine. Unfortunately, none of those things are possible. So bomb it. Bomb the whole city and everyone in it.
Yep. This has been my job for my whole life. I hope you listen and listen well right now.
Bomb everything. Bomb everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
another cold open that set the tone incredibly perfectly. And the way she's like, I'd like to go home and be with my family, please. Like, the world's gonna end.
She like had tea, right, made for her, and she was holding it very, you know, steadily at first, and then whenever he said that there were 14 people missing, that is when she started to, holy shit. She was like, oh fuck, it's over. She's like, yep, it's over. Like, it's either over or we bomb Indonesia. So she knew her family, like everything, her home was gone. But oh my lord, these openings, man, yeah, just instead of just not at all in this, just random cameos, you know, these characters aren't gonna pop
they're not
up
gonna
again,
stick in,
you know, like at all.
But they've been incredibly well done. It sets the tone perfectly. And it, again, just gets you in that mode where you're like, well, fuck. And that's September 24th, which is 2 days before Outbreak Day, where it reached the United States. Which to me kind of implies that they did not bomb the city in time. Or maybe at all. Which, you know.
No, because if it was global, no way one factory in Indonesia would supply food everywhere around the world. Like it had to have left China. It had to get to China. And Australia, I guess Indonesia, yeah, it's over. It's over. It's over.
Next up, we're in the outskirts where Ellie in 2023 is sleeping on the ground in an abandoned building, and Joel and Tess are like, yeah, you see this shit? She's infected. They got the gun on her. They're like, so, the fuck is that? And Ellie's like, I'm not infected, I promise. And they're like, Sure. And Ellie begins eating a nice little chicken sandwich that Marlene packed for her, and they're like, yo, what's that? Oh, that looks yummy. Apparently Marlene gets it from Smuggler's Chicken, which is kind of awesome. But
chicken
when
Smugglers. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're probably not good. I don't know. I don't know if I'm on the Smuggler side or not yet. I don't know.
The smugglers are on the low end of the like worst possible things. Like, in fact, I think the smugglers are actually doing some of the best work, helping people get things they might need or want.
Okay. True. Yeah, I'll hold off on the smuggler hate.
Yeah, until we meet some of the smugglers. It's like more who the smugglers might be working for that I'm a little bit more concerned about what they're transporting.
Ooh. I see.
Could get pretty bad in that regard, but nevertheless, anything for a check-in these days, But Ellie's like, yeah, the Firefly camp out west is developing a vaccine, and Joel's like, fucking A, we've heard this all before. You're the miracle baby, everything's gonna work out. Like, no, not again. And Tess is like, come on, let's go ahead and follow through. Regardless, we'll get that battery, everything will be okay. Even if she's not the shit, we get the battery and we get to do what we want. And
they just don't believe that bite was actually from someone who was infected. They just think it's a scar and that maybe but the reason that they're in is because they see her get bitten and then they see it start to heal.
I guess I hadn't really considered
maybe
that.
Is that why? Because if you saw a scar like that and it was 3 weeks old and you knew it was from someone who was infected, then
they know it's from someone infected because she tested positive.
That's true. So yeah, how the fuck were they not just oh my god, how were they not just in?
I think because she Joel is insistent that regardless, it doesn't matter how long she's been fine, she will turn. We need to be worried
that we don't. Tess. It's the unknown. I guess.
Yeah. He answers to Tess.
Mm-hmm.
Tess is telling him we need to go ahead and trust this. Let's do this. But nevertheless, she's even still doubtful over her immunity, but she maintains that the Fireflies are going to give them supplies. So they head out. And Ellie is captivated by the ruins here, and their performance throughout this episode. Bella Ramsey granted them the performance nod for me. Anytime someone acts like they've never seen basic things before, I'm kind of awed by their performance of it.
There's a lot of that this episode from them, so that makes perfect sense.
I love it. Bella
you
Ramsey
got to fly. You got to go up in the sky.
Yeah,
that's episode. Oh, that's right. Wow. Okay, never mind.
That's the opening of episode.
Oh, yeah.
Regardless, whenever they're Ellie's looking out over the city and she's like, wow. Oh my God. It reminds me, every time I see something like this, it reminds me of Rey arriving on Takodana in The Force Awakens when she's like, I didn't know there was this much green in the whole galaxy. Yeah. That's what it always reminds me of. Omega and the Bad Batch launching off into hyperspace for the first time, being like, holy shit. I love that stuff. So I really enjoyed Bella Ramsey's performance in this episode, but they go ahead and plan their path to the Massachusetts State House, but it's blocked by a crumbling building, and Joel gives them an ultimatum: the long way or the short way. And Tess chimes in, well, it's the long way or we're fucking dead way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love how real she is. She's just very, very real, and I guess it ended up being the same. I don't know. Maybe they should have taken the "we're fucking dead" way. I don't know. Do you think they had more of a chance?
They do end up taking the "we're fucking dead" way. They change route at some point and end up going the "we're fucking dead" way.
Really? Because I thought they were up and they saw everything, and then they went to the museum, or that's the "we're fucked" way, the museum, or the Independence Hall. Because that was just straight through the road, straight through the building that toppled over or something. That's the "we're fucked" dead way or something like that.
Gotcha. I don't know. Regardless, I thought that was the case. I thought they. Yeah, I don't know, but nevertheless, on their way, Ellie tells Tess that she got bit after sneaking off Oh, wait, sorry. Joel makes the call that they check the hotel first.
Mm.
And on their way, Ellie tells Tess that she got bit after sneaking off to an abandoned mall alone. And I have the feeling she was not alone.
Yeah, she did hesitate there. Yeah, like, were you alone? She was like, yeah. And like a 14-year, like, 14, you got balls. And she kind of accepted every answer, like, like it's not real.
Yeah.
So I think we got some histories to reveal to each other between the two, which is, I think, how they bond. You know, it'll be
no. And this stuff like this is why Tess is my favorite character of the episode, not just because of the sacrifice she ultimately makes, but because of the way she is almost. She's obviously the person Ellie was more excited to go on this journey with. You know, like she's like, cool, I can bond with Tess. Tess is dope. She likes me. She admires me. Like, this will be good.
Joel's done nothing but like point a gun in her face, take her knife away, just be like, nope, she'll turn eventually. We just should kill her, honestly. I don't really care. I just want the truck and the battery. Like, that's all Joel has been to her so far. So, like, fair enough.
Right.
And like Tess, like, actually my favorite line, I mean, she is my favorite character as well, this episode. And my line is like, whenever have they looked out upon all the infected just laying there and all sprawled?
Yeah.
I like right when they're looking up, she's just like giving her advice, like, you're immune, sure?
No, they haven't. They're about to.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
But like, you know, she's just giving her advice, like, you're immune, but you're not immune from being torn apart. You know, you're still fragile. You can still die. And then she's like, are you listening? Like, I'm trying to keep you alive. And then now, like, knowing, like, on the rewatch, it just hits harder. Like, just knowing that, like, this is like a lesson that Ellie is probably going to take a lot more to heart because
she sacrifices herself for them.
Tess absolutely dominated this episode for me. I just realized she actually got every single nom basically this episode.
Shit. I love
so
that.
Yeah, she performance, character, and then we'll get to her scene. Pretty obvious, I'd say, of what it will be.
Yeah.
But
no, I love that. But she confesses her previous belief that the outside world was saturated with hordes of the infected, and asks about the infected possibly using echolocation, and then like do they shoot spores out of them and infect you that way? And they're like, no, that's not a thing. And then they're like, are there really ones with their heads split open and they can see in the dark? And they're like,
we won't touch that one. We won't deny or
then a nice little scream comes from the distance, and Joel's like, all right, let's keep it moving. And they reach the hotel lobby, which is flooded, and Nellie's like, oh no, but I can't swim. And Joel goes, are you fucking serious? And she's like, yeah, what do you think? They fucking teach me this at Fedra school? And he's like, no, check this shit out. And it's like waist deep. And
he did the most dad shit ever. He's like, seriously? Let me show you this. Wait till you get a load of it. Yeah.
I loved her line too. I don't know how I was supposed to know that.
I mean, fair. You know, honestly, I was kind of thinking that he would have to swim through it. But it's a mall, and I know what malls are like before they're flooded. Or a hotel. I know what hotels are like before they're flooded. How are you supposed to know if the floor gave through? This is an apocalypse. Bombs went off everywhere, you know?
True, the floor could have given in. This could be a really long staircase.
The floor could be gone, dude. You don't know anything about the world you live in now. I don't know. So I give props to Ellie here. Joel could have just absolutely
It'd be so funny.
Yeah.
Jumped in and just but she goes around and plays around in the lobby for a little bit. You know, she's never been in a hotel. She's like, ding ding, hello, I would like your finest suite, please. And they're like, I love the way Joel's like, you're a fucking weird kid, you know that? And she just keeps going, completely ignores him, and she accidentally uncovers a skeleton, ending her fun. And the group continues up the stairs. And there's a part of this scene where I can't remember if it's this scene or something later, where she asks, anything bad in here? And Joel goes, just you. This is a running joke. He tells it again in the third episode.
Yeah. Wow.
I wonder how many more times.
I remembered it in the third episode, but I didn't remember it being in the second one. But
I'm pretty sure it's in the second. I can't remember I think it's when they're about to go into the library, maybe.
Definitely, yeah. Because in the third episode, she's like, "Oh, now you're funny. Now you're getting funny." Or something.
Getting funnier.
She like called it. Okay.
She called it funny the first time. She was like, "Oh, you're funny," and then the second time she's like, "Getting funnier." Like, yeah. So Tess has to climb into a narrow opening in the blockage where they find they can't make it past where they usually go. And Joel tries to make a little small talk with Ellie, complimenting her knife and such. And she's like, "Yeah, what about you and Tess? What's that about?" And he's like, "Pass. How'd you get to Boston?" Pass. He becomes quite annoyed very quickly, and they discuss the infected. And Tess interrupts by coming through the debris, and Joel gets all guarded, and she's like, "You can put your gun down, Joel." Like, doesn't have to see him. Knows he pulled his gun.
Man, they are the best, dude. I guess they have been together for a lot longer than I thought.
A long time.
In this point in time, I'm like, they could have been together. This could be like a thing, you know. He could have just gotten to Boston I don't know. Like I wasn't thinking 17 or whatever years that it like actually is. So like,
yeah, like they've been together a while, which makes what happens at the end of this episode like worse, like a lot worse. I didn't even realize, you know, like we'll get there, but nevertheless, Tess interrupts a potential conversation about the man Joel beat to death whenever she's like, you know, "Do you ever feel bad because you know they were once people?" And he probably lies to himself and her a little bit and goes, "Yeah." Like, I don't think he feels bad about that.
He likes to do it.
Yeah.
At this point, he's fully turned off that switch, and
and then she asks, "What about the dude last night?" And luckily, that's when Tess chimes in and is like, "Hey, I'm here."
Yeah.
And on a balcony, Tess shows them a large group of infected lying on the ground together in their path to the State House. And this is when Tess explains to Ellie that most of them were deep inside the buildings at one point, and when people seeking to reach the QZ would go into the buildings to find shelter, they would get bit. And Tess also explains that fungus grows underground, sometimes for a mile long, and if you disturb one patch of cordyceps somewhere, you could wake infected a miles away. And she informs Ellie that although she may be immune to infection, she is not immune for being ripped apart. And thus they decide to take the short way because of this. So
they do end up. Mm-hmm. So the short way is what we do see. Okay. Yes. That's, I guess it makes sense.
So, yeah, like the long way was the way they were blocking the infected. And they were like,
oh yeah, duh. Yeah. Okay.
They're like, "Well, shit. Guess we're going the we're fucking dead way."
It's not even they were just blocking it by like their bodies. It's like even just their little vines is enough.
The fungal
things. Dude. They're so OP. They're so overpowered. That's like we lose. Like we have great capabilities as humans right now, but like, man, we can't communicate across the planet. Nope. Like instantly like that. We have to use technology to do that. That's just a thing they can do. The show's scary. Like the show,
curious about like, would you be safe if you took a boat out under the water? Like you'd be safe from clickers, but like,
yeah, like yachts.
Yeah,
if you just took a yacht, stole a yacht, was in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. While all this shit was going down, I guess not even
probably go fucking insane.
Yeah, I mean, how are you gonna get anything? You have to eventually get resources, and you can't get everything. You can't get anything from the ocean,
right?
I guess if you fish, you have to fish a lot and just eat fish on your yacht.
Who knows how it affects fish? But
fuck.
Yeah, there's nowhere that's safe. But they get to the museum, and Joel cracks the fungus growing outside the museum, saying that it has dried out, implying that the infected in the museum are dead. And they slowly enter the museum, and Joel admits that they should have taken this route initially. And Ellie encounters a man that seems to have been viciously attacked. She's like, "Yo, what the fuck is this? I got hit by one of these things, and it was not like that. I'm going to tell you that right now." And Tess is like, it'll be okay, and right, and Joel's like, yeah, like she's like, maybe he got attacked outside, came inside, and Joel's, and this line delivery, it's not my favorite line, but Pedro Pascal like whispering to them was fucking impeccable.
Oh,
I love this guy's voice.
oh, dude, I agree with you fully here. This is
buddy.
I don't know what it is about it. I don't know.
I don't know either. The whole like, we from this point on, we are silent, not quiet, silent, and it's like it's so well done.
No, and then he's like,
no, silent.
No questions, just do it. And it's like,
yeah, like I can't speak the volume he was. Discord won't pick it up.
I know, yeah,
you know, like,
yeah, true.
It was,
yeah.
But he's like silent the rest of the time, not quiet, silent. No more questions. Let's go. They inch up the stairs, and Ellie steps on a decayed hand, making a noise, and they carry on to the room at the top floor, and the stairway caves in on itself as soon as they make it through. And they maintain their silence when they hear an ominous clicking sound, and a clicker walks out of the adjacent room. And Ellie becomes quite scared. They take cover behind a little thing here, and Joel mouths to Ellie, "They can't see, but they can hear." And the clicker stumbles next to them, and the way they move is fucking horrifying.
And the noise, like, how do you think is that a human making that noise? You think like the actual person in the suit, or like maybe not like
probably,
in there, but like
post sound design.
Like I've tried, like in the past couple of days, like I've just tried to make that noise. It's just hard. Like I don't know. But like even the screech, like they have, it's kind of like a screech with the click combined. But if you screech, it's not clicking. I don't know. You can't do like both at the same time. I guess I don't have a fungal infection, so
who knows how it affects their lungs and stuff. I don't know. But regardless, whenever Ellie sees this motherfucker, she can't help but gasp, and that immediately draws its attention, and they have to look. The clicker hears them and looks, and this prompts Joel to absolutely unload on this clicker, which does absolutely nothing.
Hank those bullets.
As he fights off the clicker, another one appears. Tess and Ellie run away. They trip over a mannequin, and the second clicker chases Tess as Ellie crawls away. We don't see Tess for a while, and presumably this is when she gets got.
And that's the thing. Whenever she first entered the room and said twisted ankle, it was the first thought in my mind. I'm like, no way that's a twisted ankle. No. I'm like, she's infected. And then she starts talking in the way and I'm like, fuck. And I literally say it. I'm like, oh, she's already infected. Yep. My girlfriend accuses me of already watching the episode before and being like, oh, you know what happens, blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, it does happen. So I'm like, even further.
You haven't beat the allegations yet.
No. But it was like, I don't know. I felt like it was like, okay. I don't know. It felt easy to.
That's pretty keen. That's a pretty keen sense of what's going on, because I didn't really think anything of it. I did think it was odd that she was off screen for a while.
Off for too long. That's why I literally had that thought while she was off screen for too long. I'm like, she's been off screen for too long. It was like in my head, and then she comes back on and says twisted ankle. I'm like, okay. So like I was just already in the mind of it while she was off screen. So it was like, and oh man, I don't know. Like if you literally hear. If it had to happen to one of us, Ellie literally says, it cuts, boom, Tess's face on, like it's the only thing you see. So, I don't know.
Now, this whole scene was my favorite. I titled it Silent Library. I don't know if you ever watched that show.
The funny one? Yeah, where they have to do all the challenges?
They have to try and avoid laughing or letting out any noise.
This one's a lot worse.
This is the worst possible version of Silent Library.
Yeah, this I do not want to do
this. If you make noise, you get ripped apart by a fungal monster.
I like that though. Silent Library.
Oh yeah, that was the shit right there. I absolutely loved it. But they go ahead and make it out after Joel unloads another clip into the head of a clicker, which these things are just fucking impossible to kill. Apparently, like you got to hit them. They're not doing the whole like, oh, the video game is harder thing. No, it's that hard. Like it's not like.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like they're like, yeah,
it's like
dome one of them and you're good. No, you got to dome them like 6 times.
Yeah, it's like the same thing. You have like the base level infected that you can just, kill pretty easily. And then you have the next tier whenever you play the game a little longer. Yeah, and it's like, I don't know, they're doing the game justice. It makes perfect sense for the show. Like if you've never played the game, you're not like, oh, this is so adapted so well, and this is such a cool, and like I love that this is in the show. It's just like, oh, that's a creepy fucking thing. I hope there's not more of those.
Right.
So I don't know. They're doing such a good job balancing the show and video game aspect.
It's really good. I really, really enjoy it. But that does take us to the Capitol building, where Tess tells them that they need to get moving before the sun goes down. And outside, Joel puts a bandage on Ellie's bite, helps Tess realign her twisted ankle, and he again shares his concern about Ellie being infected. And Tess is like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Can't you just for a second think that things will be okay? Can't you even kind of do that for me? They should be grateful to be alive." And this is when I was like, "Oh, okay, there's something there." And
does Joel know here?
Or
does Ellie actually is that the first time that it like hits everybody?
No. I don't think it hits until Ellie says it.
Okay, because
she says it with shock in her voice.
Ellie definitely that it hit her first, but I think Joel may have suspected it, but he was like, "No, it can't be."
Yeah.
And then just played it out, and then whenever, later on, I think like it. I don't know. I was just really interested to see if you noticed Joel's reaction or anything.
He's a pretty stoic dude.
True.
He doesn't let on a lot, but regardless, they make their way up the road in front of the State House, where a container truck is parked, ready to transport Ellie. And Joel becomes suspicious when no one comes to meet them. They're like, "Yo, what the fuck?" The driver is dead underneath the truck, and Tess draws her gun and runs inside with Ellie. They find all the Fireflies dead. Joel turns over one of them and finds fungi growing on his face. And Ellie's like, "Did Fedra do this?" And he goes, "No. One of the Fireflies got infected, spread the infection to others, and the survivors fought the healthy fought the infected. Nobody won. Everybody loses. In fact,
good assessment of the situation there.
Quick, I think once you've been around the block like Joel has, you kind of know what you're looking for in these situations."
Damn. Yeah, that's true. Sadly, he's an expert by now, it seems.
And it's at this point that Tess starts to flip the fuck out. She is worried that this was all for nothing. Checking the bodies, they must have a map. One of them must have a map, something that points the way to the Firefly camp. And Joel finally loses his patience. Is like, "No, this is it. We're going home. This is the end of the line." And Tess is like, "Nope, I'm not going home."
He says, "That's not my home.
That's not my home." And our luck was bound to run out at some point. And that's when Ellie goes, "Fuck, she's infected."
Yeah.
And Joel's like, "Show me. Like, I won't believe it until I see it." And Tess pulls her shirt aside to reveal a pretty quick infection taking place. And she's like, "Yep, had to happen at some point, like it was only going to last so long." And Joel tries to process what's happening, and Tess orders Ellie to take her bandage off, revealing that her bite mark from earlier has already completely healed. And Tess is like, "You see this? This is the key. Everything's going to be okay. Take her to Bill and Frank's, force them to transport Ellie. We will get this figured out." And he tells her, or she tells him, "Save who you can. Save who you can save." That is my line of the episode. Save who you can save. Because it comes back around really hard in episode 3 in a different way that just resonates infinitely.
Man, and on the rewatch, like knowing that she does get infected and knowing that she does die, like I suspected it whenever I watched it, but I didn't know. So like I didn't know she was dying, you know. But like now knowing she does, like every action she takes after that bite, she's on it. She knows she doesn't have any time left, and that's why she's so devastated whenever everyone's dead. Because she's like, she wanted this one last thing for her to get a win. And she couldn't see it happen. She has to hope that Joel does it. And Joel, like, didn't even give her the satisfaction of, like, saying anything or fuck, Joel. Oh my god, I'm kind of pissed at Joel. A little bit.
I don't think Joel is a man of few words. I think
in action, he could have done a hug. I mean, but like I know she's infected, but like it's only if she bites him, right?
That's not the type of dude Joel is. He told her, like, because what happens is the infected start fucking coming. The tendrils wrap around his hands. The infected horde starts dashing towards the state house. He goes, "We have a minute tops." And she goes, "All right, you got to get the fuck out of here." The best thing he could have done in that moment was get the fuck out of there. I think that's all she wanted. That's all they needed. And
I mean, she said, "Promise me, Joel. Promise me." You know, she was like begging for an answer because she's dying, you know, and she knows, and she's like, "This is what I would need you to do this," and Joel just stands there. I mean, like, maybe that's just the relationship. Maybe it's more of just the she knows.
I took his response.
I don't know.
I thought his response to "promise me" was grabbing Ellie and getting the fuck out of there. He could have just left her. You know, he could have been like, "No, I'm heading back." Him taking Ellie implies that he's decided to take care of her. He will protect her. And like that's how I took it. Okay. But I do absolutely see what you're saying. Like, because I thought that
together for 17 years. This is her saying her final goodbye. Him knowing, like, that's the thing, is that, like, in the rewatch this is Joel and Tess's last day together, and then we get Bill and Frank's last day together. Next episode, we get the ideal situation, and then we get the exact opposite, where your last day comes from the last thing you wanted is to get bit by an infected. So you know you're dying, you know it's your last day, and it sucks, you didn't want it to happen, and it's all shitty. Everything's shitty. This episode, it's all shit. Nothing good happens. Next episode, it is the polar opposite. It is like exactly what you would want in this world if you could ask for it. You know, this is it's the polar opposite. And after watching episode 3, that's why, like, episode 2 at first watch was just kind of like, okay, it was good. It wasn't episode 1. I was absolutely a wreck after episode 1, and it was just really good. Now I'm in the show. I will watch episode 3 guaranteed. Yeah. And then after watching episode 3,
I'm like, this is one of the GOATs.
It's just obviously off that watch, you're like, okay, yes, I know what I just watched. I witnessed history made right here in front of me. Whatever you want to give the title of the episode, I don't know, but like, now rewatching episode 2, though, whenever I thought it was weak, in the lens of it, like, it being kind of an arc of the last days that the couples that we have on screen have together, like, kind of, they're just building the world, showing you the worst of the worst and showing you kind of the best of the best.
Yeah.
And everything in between. Gotcha. And I don't know, I still think it's the weakest episode of the season, that's for sure. No still. But
no, yeah, I dig it. But yeah, this results in them storming out of there, Tess grabbing discarded weapons, knocking over fuel, and trying to light a lighter that keeps fizzling out. I'm tired of this trope. I hate it.
One, the spark itself would light it up.
That's enough.
And why does it happen every time?
It happened in Stranger Things 4, where he couldn't get the fucking lighter to flick and get the flaming bat going, or whatever the fuck he had. Like, I don't know. I'm just like, I know.
Why didn't she grab a grenade and just fucking? You know, I expected her to go out like boom, Like, that's how I expected her to go
I'm
out.
doing fucking anything to make sure this motherfucker doesn't put his face on mine. Absolutely not. But, it is what it is. It happens how it happens. And this building blows up. Joel and Ellie are outside, and Joel walks away silent.
I guess my only gripe is Joel's Noel reaction, in which I'm feeling a little better about now. And then the other one was how she went out. And I guess it's like, in our minds, we thought that she would go out in glory and, massive explosion, going out like a warrior. But like, in the moment, she had no idea she was going to die today. Joel just left everything. She knows she's dying. Like, that's so much to process. And like, she's just actually, it's hitting her now, so like, I think it's more realistic that it's like she just freezes up and doesn't know what to do because
I think so too.
My God, I'm about to die. And like, so it's just, so I would have liked, like a single line from Joel, maybe just being like, I promise, or I will, or, something. And then I would have liked her to pull a pin on a grenade and,
I get you. Like, my beef with this episode is more pacing. I think that what we did in an hour with this episode, or 50 minutes or whatever, could have been done in about 20. I liked it. I enjoyed watching it, but I don't think we do a lot of important stuff. I think they spend a lot of time trying to get you to really care about Tess, and even then, I don't think it paid off.
Yeah,
I care about Tess, but I cared more when Sarah
really
died. I care more next episode. Like, I mostly, and this is kind of shitty. I shouldn't project it onto this. I knew she was going to die soon. I didn't know from a spoiler or anything. I knew from the promotional material that Tess isn't in it a lot.
Yeah.
I was like, she can't be here for long, and, I'm also preparing myself. People are going to die. It's The Last of Us. So I expected her to go. I didn't expect it to be so soon. I thought it would be a couple episodes. But again, I didn't feel it the way I was supposed to. And I feel like they spent a lot of time trying to make me feel it. And I still didn't.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, I guess I teared up. Like, maybe I had like a tear swell, but I didn't like I didn't. No way. I was in no way close to episode 1.
Oh no, I was not close to episode 1, and episode 1 wasn't close to episode 3. That's
exactly.
There are levels to it here.
Yeah,
and this one was not on the high end by any means, because like literally, I think I went, oh man. I don't think I emoted at all. I think I went, shit. Like, yep, that was
that. Yeah,
I was kind of the attitude that Tess had. Like, it was bound to happen. Like, our luck had to run out.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, it did. But nevertheless, that does affect my enjoyment of the episode, and it affects my my critical rating of the episode. The pacing stuff more so.
Definitely
on the
not
side.
10s here.
No, I'm going like 8 might be my ceiling for enjoyment on this one.
That's
like, I enjoyed it.
I was saying like 7.5.
Yeah, I was thinking 7.5, 7.75. Like, it was solid, but it wasn't anything that like blew my mind. I was like I was still like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna keep watching the show, but I wasn't like, wow, they have been on a fucking roll, like I did enjoy it though. So I think 7.75 is more where I'm at. Like
I mean, 75%, just 3/4 of the way. Yeah, well, I don't know if I want to be nicer to it or not. I don't know. I feel like 7.5 is fair. I don't think going low. I was not going to go lower, definitely, than 7.5. But I think, I don't know, we should leave room for it to grow, because seeing what episode 3 was and episode 1 was, like, they have,
and that's my thing, is that I watched episode 3 and went, well, this this almost negates what I thought was a 10 prior, and it didn't though. Like I did enjoy episode 1 on that level. It's just that's how good episode 3 was, you know. So like,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
I
we
think
do. I think 7.75 is fair.
I like.
And genre wise, I think it's still ballin'. Like
Yeah.
that's the place where I don't think it'll fall much at all. I think Craig Maslin knows exactly what he's doing with a sort of apocalyptic situation, and I think they killed it. The horror tones in this episode were a lot stronger, which was also baller.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't think. Man, is it? I'm pretty. I mean, what did they miss?
I don't think
Really,
they did.
you know, yeah, it's
I'm
like
pretty
the world.
confident this is another 10.
It's
like,
just, if anything,
I think we'll know when an episode isn't exactly what the show has been like or what it's supposed to be. Like this was, it's in keeping with what I expect of this show, and it did exceedingly well at the things it was trying to do. I think.
I think it just built the world. It just built the world. If you want to pull out anything of this episode that it did just well, was it just gave you an hour to sit down and feel the world out of, you know, that we're in. And I don't know. I think it wasn't, you know, 7.75 on the, you know, it's almost an 8 enjoyment. So it's like, it's not like we're talking about it as if it's like, oh, you know, kind of like on the lower end, but like, we're talking against 10s, like against perfect, like amazing episodes. So, yeah, I think I don't know. I'm thinking like critically, like how much is it weaker, like than enjoyment, or is it around like the same level?
I think it's my gut was 8 for
okay,
because visually
it still looks, that's the thing. Yeah.
Visually astounding. The performances are amazing. My only gripe is the pacing. Like that is legit it. I don't have another gripe.
Writing, I mean, but that's a pretty, that is the largest aspect of our, you know, critical rating. That we like to say the writing is the most important.
I tend to agree. And I don't necessarily think the writing was bad.
Yeah. Okay.
I think the writing was fine. I understood what they were trying to do. It just didn't resonate with me. And therein, because it didn't resonate, I thought they spent too much time on it, which affects the pacing, not necessarily the writing.
I think what maybe would have made me care about Tess more is if this episode, maybe we got like flashbacks of her and Joel, and their early relationship, and then she dies next episode or something like that, you know, or
that's the thing, is that like next episode enhanced this episode like crazy, which shouldn't happen.
Even that just little scene, even just that little tidbit, like, but imagine just seeing them together for like a whole, like, just in their natural, you know, not over at Bill and Frank's, just wherever that, you know, in Boston.
Boston.
Yeah, so
at the Dunkin' Donuts.
But man,
park the car.
I think 8. Wicked. 8's actually fair because
crime.
It is looking just so good. Like every shot,
is a beautiful looking show.
Oh my god, the scene that where Ellie's eating her chicken sandwich. She is sitting on like all the natural green foliage, sun on her, like coming down, and beautiful. Joel and Tess are like in the building in like a dark gray corner, and every time it switches, it's just like bright, beautiful, vibrant. When it shows Ellie, she's at the center of like this beam, like literally like the key to it all, you know. And it's just like, oh my god, like this show is just.
Yeah, it's a brilliant looking show. But what does that rating give it overall?
We give it an 8.58, so around 86%.
Pretty big drop, but still very, very good. Exceedingly good. But that does take us to episode 3, written by Craig Mazin and directed by Peter Hoare.
Peter Hoare, let me tell you.
Peter Hoare's got it on him, bro.
Let this man cook. Give him every. I don't know if it's a love story. Give him.
Give him. Because I need that shit. No, this This was outstanding. He's actually directed episodes of Daredevil in season 2. Season 2 of Daredevil, he directed 3 episodes in that season of television. So he's done fairly well for himself.
Okay.
But we begin this episode 10 miles west of Boston, and I gotta say, I don't know where I want to be, but I don't know where I am, but I know I want to be 10 miles west of Boston. You know what I'm saying? This place is gorgeous, and there is no fucking way this is 10 miles west of Boston. This is
Massachusetts, 10 miles? Yeah, 10 miles? What the fuck?
Mountain ranges and creeks. Like, no. This is Canada.
Yeah. Okay.
Regardless, I fucking loved it. I don't know where I am or where I'm going, but I know I want to be 10 miles west of Boston. We're in the morning after Tess's death, where Joel is going ahead and stacking some rocks down by the river, which I think is an interesting activity for Joel to be taking part in. I usually associate rock stacking with some more spiritual, connected to the earth types, and it seems like he's just kind of, I don't know, seems just not the type to do it. But, you know, he's in mourning. He'll do his thing. He's coping how he can, but he's returned to meet Ellie at a nearby campsite, and Joel ignores Ellie as she just kind of stares at him, and Ellie attempts to start conversation where he goes, "I don't want your sorries." And she's like, No. I wasn't going to say that. In fact, I was going to say the opposite. Y'all made a choice. Y'all wanted to get some fucking battery. Y'all did not have to do this, okay? So don't you blame me for shit that isn't my fault. And if the episode hadn't been so strong in every other regard, Ellie would have been an easy character choice.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of forgot about the Ellie and Joel scenes, like of this episode. I remembered like the Joel and Tess coming back at the end, and
frankly,
and everything. But
they're some of the best scenes we've had between Joel and Ellie.
Yeah.
Maybe the best scenes we've had with Joel and Ellie.
They're actually like starting to bond.
Yeah, they're alone now. They have no choice. And it just got so outshined by Bill and Frank's storyline. Bill and Frank's excellent adventure.
Side note, went 10 miles west of Boston and just plopped down on Street View, just on Google Maps. Not actually, like, looking pretty nice. Like,
no shit.
Like, there's a town called Lincoln. It's about, I don't know, it's just the first town that I saw that was about 10 miles west, and it's like, yeah, it looks pretty similar, actually. So, maybe 10 miles west of Boston isn't actually that bad.
I'm trying to be 10 miles west of Boston. That's what I'm saying. But tell me, is there a Cumberland Farms? Because that's where we're headed next. After Ellie asks if she can have a gun once again, she is immediately shut down once again. And Joel has apparently stashed stuff over the years. And Ellie walks in and is ecstatic to find Mortal Kombat 2. Oh, there's one character who eats your spine and vomits your bones. Oh, I fucking love this thing. And she's claiming a friend that taught her about the game. I have a feeling that friend is the one who was with her in the mall. Meanwhile, Joel is searching for a stash, and Ellie decides to go ahead and keep looking. And he's like, "Good luck, everything's been taken." And she's like, "Anything bad in here?" He goes, "Just you." Haha, getting funnier. And she finds the door to a cellar in the back room, climbing down to find the shelves empty, save for a box of tampons, which she's like, "Fuck yes, I need that shit." Just again reiterating the importance of toiletries and just health and hygiene products in general in the apocalyptic world. Can't imagine how long it's been since they've seen tampons.
Oh, this is real. This is a real place. Like this Cumberland
Farms.
Oh, it's 10 miles. It's legit. This is actually legit. Yeah. I wonder if this town, because I see the gas station they went to, the Cumberland Farms, like that is the gas station that they go to. Like, and I'm on Google Maps right now looking right at it. But I wonder if I can find that, if I can find like Frank's house, actually. Bill and Frank's house.
I'm trying to go to Bill and Frank's house.
Yeah, no.
Let let me get the address. No, but nevertheless, she gets down there and she is interrupted by a screech from an infected, having been crushed underneath a pile of rubble. And Ellie is like, huh, let me see what happens when I cut this motherfucker. Okay. Goes ahead and stabs the motherfucker. And I was like, yo, if this thing wasn't taking over the world and dominating things, I would think this is a bad sign in a character. The general experimentation.
Yeah, now that wow, she really just... Yeah, it's like, I guess, like, serial killers, they start with animals, or whatever. It's like they say that, but...
This is a different situation, like, it's like...
apocalypse. And...
She's outside for the first time. She's never seen one of these things besides getting attacked by one, Let's see what happens here. Like, I feel like this is more fair than just experimenting on animals.
Now she knows how hard she has to stab to kill,
Yeah, exactly.
Research.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But she returns to Joel after killing this motherfucker who's found a stash without telling him what happened. And to her disappointment, Joel chooses to leave behind the rifle he stole from Lee, as he's not likely to find ammunition. Well, if you're just going to leave it here... Nope. All right.
What? Because they did mention that the factory in Georgia or whatever, they make two things, bullets and pills.
Pills.
And I guess Fedra would have... That's like all the bullets they have, right?
That's a Fedra factory.
So I guess they're just not in Boston anymore, or in a Fedra.
We're not
QZ,
in Boston anymore.
So like, where is Fedra? Is Fedra the whole?
If there's a QZ, there's a Fedra. It was an American sect of the government. Of the United States government.
I guess I know it's across the United States. Is it like Is it like global though?
I doubt it.
So it's just United
States.
Okay.
But they continue their walk and find the wreckage of a crashed airplane from Outbreak Day on a nearby hill. And she's like, "Wow, did you ever get to go in one of those things?" And he's like, "Yeah, wasn't all that though. They shoved you in a middle seat and made you pay $12 for a sandwich." And she's like, "Dude, you got to go in the fucking sky, okay?
Yeah.
I don't want to hear any of that shit." He's like, "Yep, but so did they." And that's when I'm kind of going, okay, I think it's probably the less mathematical solution to this thing. But
no. It was just someone was infected, the pilot went, or it was apocalypse. That's why the planes crash.
Yeah. But
at least my teacher tried, at least they tried.
Yeah, no, and I think the whole the 3 in a row, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
That's they had to have been going one after the other and they all fell but regardless, those who were on board the plane would probably agree with Joel's assessment that it was never very fun. And she inquires about the events of Outbreak Day. She never learned from Fedra about it, and Joel explains that when cordyceps mutated to infect humans, it got in the food supply, probably flour, sugar, pancake mix, and then into widely distributed products, which hit the shelves on Thursday, September 25th, 2003. As the population ate it over the course of Thursday night or Friday morning, they started to get sicker and sicker, and eventually they were influenced to violently attack others and spread the fungus. And by it happened on Friday, September 26th, and by Monday, everything was gone. And her being like, "Thank you. That makes a lot more sense than monkeys." He's like, "Yeah, no problem." I loved that part. If the rest of the episode wasn't so fucking strong, this was really close to being just one of my favorite parts of the episode in general. Just this whole prelude to what happens later.
They really get outshined, huh? Man,
hard.
yeah,
Hard.
it's tough. When I'm thinking back on this episode in a couple weeks, I'm only going to remember Bill and Frank.
No doubt. Zero doubt in my mind. But Joel stops Ellie, suggesting that they take a different route through the woods because of something disturbing along the path. You don't want to see what's up ahead. And Ellie's like, "Oh, well, now I have to see what's up ahead. Shit." And only to see what he was referring to. a mass grave full of skeletal remains. And Joel explains that during the week following the outbreak, the government evacuated small towns with the promise of taking them to QZs. However, if the QZ filled up, they went ahead and executed them. Dead people can't be infected. And we leave that scene on a zoom in of a small blanket and clothing. And we re-enter in 2003 on a baby in that blanket and that baby's mom, presumably, in the town of Lincoln, Massachusetts.
Wait, so I plopped actually in the town?
Yeah.
No way, dude. What? That's actually nuts. Because it actually looked really similar. I'm like, dude, this is looking really similar. And then I find the actual Cumberland Farms, like the gas station. I'm like, wait a minute, maybe this is a real place. I guess it makes sense.
Yep, we're back in 2003 in Lincoln, Massachusetts, where this neighborhood specifically is where these two are from. They're going to be killed in this mass grave, and thankfully, in a sub-basement bunker, a bearded man is watching security cameras as soldiers come through his house, grabbing his gun and muttering, "Not today, you New World Order jackboot fucks." As soon as I heard that, I was like, well, that's Nick Offerman. I know that as soon as I hear it.
And what a twist of a character. Like, I did not think at all for a second that this is where they were going to take this character, you know? And
I'm like, loved it though, because this is the most nuanced performance. This is a career performance for Nick Offerman. This was insanely good. Like,
this show is going to get so many awards.
This is one of my single favorite episodes of television ever.
Yeah. I think it goes... what are your favorite?
No. The rating. This is 10, 10, and 10.
Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, there's no question about it. I'll just go ahead and spoil my favorite. He gets the performance. There's no, like, it was maybe Frank. You know, I was maybe thinking.
I like me some Murray Bartlett, bro. He did fantastic. It's just the fact that I've never seen Nick Offerman reach these dimensions. Like, this was crazy. This is Ron fucking Swanson from Parks and Rec doing this. This man is nuts. This is one of my favorite performances I've ever watched in a single episode of television.
It would, like, seeing him, and I saw, like, you know, hearing his first line, he's in this basement with his wall of guns and prepper, and, you know, and I'm like, okay, let's see what the take on this, you know, on this person would be in this world, you know. I'm getting ready for a lot of racism. I'm getting ready for a lot of, you know, other things that generally come with these people. And then, whoa, you know, so obviously we got something a lot different.
I know I don't seem the type. No, you do. Fuck. God damn, man, this episode, like, it's basically just going to be me reading this and us going, fuck. God damn.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't, like, not a lot to say, just like, it speaks for itself in so many regards where you're just like, yeah, they fucking nailed that. But the man goes ahead and climbs out of the bunker and makes sure his house and the surrounding town is clear. And satisfied, he climbs into his truck and goes to work, converting the town into his personal compound. Going ahead and grabbing a boat, filling up on fuel, lumber, generators, and other equipment from nearby areas, raids a Home Depot, and he sets up...
hit all the necessary resources. He went to, his first was gas. Yeah, he got gas. He went to a gas station, filled up so many barrels and everything of gas. A Home Depot for supplies, and then I think his third stop, was like a distillery for alcohol. I think, like, for the drinks, whatever. Alcohol is actually just like a really valuable resource, like, for cleaning and like, just in, like, regardless, and just to drink.
Oh,
you know, that dude got his wine.
That man went Camus Vineyards. He was like, I know my wine. I know what I need.
Dude knows his wine. Yeah. Dude. So, man, I don't know. That's just, it was the little montage of, it's like, in a cruddy world, obviously we know what happens outside of the world, but it's like, we get to see this guy just kind of
carved out his little slice of heaven, you know? He had a little slice of paradise there. I loved this. And just because, like you said, we got what's terrible and we got what's good here. He set up a nice electric fence, various traps, among other perimeters to protect himself from infected and other humans, but having built a fully self-sufficient compound with running water, gas, stove, heating, and electricity, he prepares himself a nice little steak dinner, complete with the wine pairing, and watches with glee on a security camera as an infected is killed by one of his traps, a tripwire that sets off a shotgun that destroys his ass.
He's like, that never gets old. Yeah. Oh man, that dinner, man, that he can cook pretty well. That looked like I want that meal.
That man's worked at a 5-star Michelin rated restaurant right there. He's got the plating, does the little turn, make sure it's facing the right way. That man's with it. He knows what he's doing. But that's when we flash forward 4 years. So we are now 16 years away from the events of the present. And while doing some welding in his basement, he notices that one of his pit traps outside has been activated. And walking out with a gun, he's ready to put down its victim. But he is surprised to hear a human voice call out that he is not infected. And the man in the pit eventually reveals his name to be Frank. He is unarmed, although he thought about lying about it. And he's just trying to get to Boston. There was 10 of us, but I'm alone now. We came from the Baltimore QZ. It's gone.
What does that mean?
It didn't work. Sometimes QZ zones get
infected.
Yeah.
It's gone. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I get it. I thought like bomb as in like humans did it.
It just got overran is all. But
it is no longer a QZ.
It is no longer quarantined. But I love the way he's like I love the way Nick Offerman handles the guns, the way he like looks around with them and stuff. It's so funny to me.
Yeah, he's he's thought about this. He's a prepper, like they got the prepper thing down.
Survivalist.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry.
I think there's a key difference though. Preppers just get all the fucking supplies. Survivalists have the fucking skills to survive after.
Yeah, I don't know. He's actually, this episode, like, legitimately got me to start thinking about, like, I want to, like, look into how to grow my own food. If I ever need, like, gardening. Legitimately. And, like, I've always been interested in it, but, like, now it's, like, kind of like, maybe I need to know this. Like,
well, I also need to dig out a sub-basement so that if Fedra ever comes knocking, I can hide properly. Otherwise, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, that's true. I do know a person. I used to work for someone who was a prepper, and I mean hardcore prepper. They had more money than they knew what to do with, so like they just could. And hardcore prepper, and I know where I'm going. Like I am going there immediately if this ever happens. So I won't say where.
No, right.
I'll only invite a couple people. Because it can't invite too many people. It's not an Arby's, Yeah.
But every bum you talk to about it's going to show up here looking for a free lunch, and this is not an Arby's. And Frank's like, well, Arby's was a restaurant, sir. They did not do free lunch. And this is when Bill's like, okay, you know what? Fine. And the man relents, and Frank comes into his house, letting him take a hot shower and giving him a new set of clothes. And the way he like kind of lingers in the room and is like, I haven't been around people in a very long time, let alone a very attractive man like you, Murray Bartlett. So I'm a little nervous.
I put clothes. Oh, I put clothes on the. He's so like in everything he does. And
can I get 5 more minutes? This is amazing.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Sure. I love it.
Oh, that's what it was. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Frank goes ahead and sits in the dining room. He's like, man, this is pretty impressive. And he's looking around, and then he goes ahead and walks on out with a nice plate of food. And he's like, oh, what the fuck? This is fucking gorgeous.
You're totally right about him working in like the service industry or something before, because he like legitimately like carries the plates and like presents everything, like the wine, like even the bottle.
He like the wine and pours it. Yeah,
like 100%. Like I didn't.
This man was like some sort of service industry worker. I am certain of it.
Unless maybe, what's the actor? Fuck.
Nick Offerman.
Thank you. Maybe he worked in the service industry, and maybe he just has those skills. He's
like that.
I don't know.
No, the man's a Renaissance man, regardless. But Frank is impressed whenever he has a nice little bottle of Beaujolais, to pour along with the rabbit. A man who knows to pair a rabbit with a nice Beaujolais, and he's like, I know I don't seem the type, and he's like, no, you do. And I was like, oh, this is already fucking adorable. I don't know where this is heading, but I'm liking it.
I think at this moment, I'm like, oh wait, are they gonna be a thing? Like, I think I said that out loud. Yeah. Like, we're watching together, and I'm like, oh wait a minute. I'm like, because I was in the mind that he was just gonna be like right wing, the whole time, and be like, all right, get out of my house. But then like the more he was, and I'm like, he hasn't had a friend. He hasn't talked to anyone. He finally cooked for someone, and like to actually cook for someone and have them eat, like, it's weird to cook for someone and watch them eat a meal. It's so satisfying. Mm-hmm. If like
when it's good.
Yeah. And it's so
satisfying. The way he's all like, well, anything tastes good whenever you're starving. And he's like, no, not like this.
Yeah.
And he's like, like, I love Nick Offerman in this role, man.
Every line they had was so cute. Like, so everything, good. Man.
But then they finish the meal, and Frank turns his sight to the antique piano. Is that an antique? Yeah, it's a 1948. He's like, do you know how much this is worth? And he's like, nothing anymore.
Currently nothing. His line deliveries. Yeah, like, well, right now, currently nothing. He's very, he's so, man, everything he does this episode, it's like, there wasn't a single thing that he did wrong.
And I love another thing I love just about how good of a read Frank has on Bill. He goes straight to the piano, looks through the sheet music, and goes, this isn't yours. This isn't yours. Linda Ronstadt. That's you. This is what you like. And pulls out Long, Long Time. Is like, I love this. And his performance leaves a bit to be desired. He's not terrible at the piano.
He tried. He doesn't have a piano to practice on. He does, come on.
Yeah, Fun fact about this actor, he's actually insanely good at piano. Murray Bartlett is very good at piano.
Interesting. So, I was wondering if like he was legitimately just not good, and if he was just trying to play it and he just happened.
Well, that's the thing. He's good enough to like get by. Like, I was like, this isn't that bad. Like, I know it's not good, the way he's like stumbling every once in a while, but I'm like, this is a lot better than I would do reading sheet music and trying to play a note, so I was like, he's not bad. And then the way Bill steps up and is like, no. All right. You're butchering the shit out of that. I can't hear it any longer. I like that he was playing like an upbeat version of the song. He was like, he's like, love will abide. And he's like real happy about it. And then, Bill steps in and he's like, oh, you got to stop. And Frank's like, well, I'm no professional. He's like, well, neither am I, but, and, and
like,
Frank goes,
I know I'm better than you, right now. I don't know.
Frank goes, oh, okay, then show me, and then I'll leave. I'll get the fuck out of here. And, Nick Offerman plays the most beautiful rendition of Long, Long Time, aside from Linda Ronstadt herself. And you can watch Frank just kind of melt, just kind of fall in love with him here as he performs this. Because there's also the fact, you don't perform a song like this for just anybody. You perform a song like this whenever you're like, I'm looking for connection. Mm-hmm. Regardless of who you're singing it to.
Dude just gave him a nice shower, a clean set of clothes, which is very rare these days. A shower rare, and clothes rare. A meal that was out of this world, and then a song. Like a live performance of a song. Like, oh my God, how do you not fall in love at that, after that? I don't know. And just knowing, like, I don't want to jump the gun or anything, but like just knowing that this is like where they get married at the piano, and it's just like everything that happens in that montage, you're like, oh fuck, you're already like broken, you're already just crying, and you're just like,
I'm already a shell of a man.
Yeah, just another little thing happens, and you can like, oh, that's what they fucking did that for, and then it's shit.
This is the everything everywhere all at once of television episodes. Like when I cry for the last hour of that movie, I'm crying for the last 30 minutes of this episode of television. Like from the moment they eat the strawberries, I'm fucked. That's it. That was it for me. I was like, and we'll get there. But Bill finishes his performance, and Frank asks, "Who's the girl?" And to which Bill replies, "There is no girl." And Frank's like, "Yeah, I know." And they share a hesitant yet passionate kiss as Bill, like the way they like kiss at first, and then he like stands and wraps his arms around him, and it's just like, oh God. And then Frank pulls away. "What's your name?" He goes, "Bill." He says, "Take a shower, Bill." And it's like, ooh.
Yeah.
And,
on one hand, it's like you smell, and on the other hand, it's like, oh, well, I'd rather you be clean. Yeah.
Oh yeah, both, 100%. But they go ahead, and I love that Frank was like, "I already know where this is heading. I'm a hop in bed naked while he's showering." I loved that shit. Bill walks out nice and hair pushed back, nice and matted down, and he's like, Frank asks, "Have you ever done this before?" And he's like, "Once with a girl." And he's like, yeah, okay, well, I'll start with the beginner steps, but I'm no whore, I'm not fucking for lunch, you know. So if I do this, I'm gonna have to stay a few days. And Bill's like, yeah, okay.
I'm all right with that. He was already hoping he was going to say that, because, I mean, I think from the moment that he gave him the plate of like dinner, he was like, all right, I don't want you to leave at all. Actually, like
he offers him seconds.
Yeah. You don't have. He's like, trust me, I would. He's like, I would. Oh man, yeah, it was just such a. From absolute strangers, meeting in a hole out front, gun drawn, to just absolutely like, holy shit, that was like so beautiful to watch. And I didn't even know what I was about to get into,
Right.
This is just the beginning.
Yeah, because I love that when it's about to happen, it cuts to Frank yelling, "Fuck you!" Quite literally. But Bill and Frank are in an argument about Frank's desire to tidy up the compound, because Frank's like, "This is our home. The whole area is our home. We need to take care of it." And Bill's like, "Fuck no. We need to resource manage the shit out of this place." And he's like, "I know you were all 9/11 was an inside job, and the government are Nazis." And he's like, "The government are Nazis." And he's like, "Yeah, now, but not then." And
it said in show. That's pretty not, you don't really get it to say, like, we never hear in Star Wars that like the Empire's a bunch of well, I guess we kind of do. It's the most Star Wars way that they can say it. You can't really say
fascists.
Yeah. So I guess we do hear it, but it's nice just hearing in the show that like I don't know.
That's the image of evil, of fascism, that's it. But yeah, Frank's like, "I'm just going to go ahead, tidy up the lawns, and I'm going to tidy up a few of the shops." And he's like, "What the fuck are you going to do that for?" He's like, "Are we having garden parties now? Formal garden parties?" He's like, "No, but we are going to have friends."
And I guess we will have friends. Yeah, the way he said it, like, he didn't want to say, he was trying to ease him into this the whole time. Like, the idea of Joel and...
I can't imagine how crazy it would have sounded to Bill to go, "But we will have friends." I'd be like, "What the fuck are you talking about? No, the fuck we won't." That's
what he said. Yeah, that's what he said. He literally told him, he's like, "What the..." Like, I don't know what the line was, but it might be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
There are no friends to have.
Yeah.
And, Frank reveals that he's been talking to a nice woman on the radio. And they cut.
What? Yeah, he's like, what?
And we cut to the nice woman being a younger Tess who is with Joel. And this is 2010. So they'd been together for at least 13 years at the time of Tess's death. Maybe not together. Okay. Yes, together. And we'll get to what that means later. But they join Bill and Frank for a pleasant lunch to discuss partnering on a smuggling operation. And Tess is like, even if we don't end up working together, I absolutely love your setup here. This is absolutely fantastic. And Frank's like, thank you so much. And Bill's got the gun on the table. Joel's staring him down. They're just a perfect little just pairing on both sides. I absolutely love it. But Joel immediately is understanding of Bill's paranoia. You know, if mine brought a stranger into a situation, and that's not so much like I don't know how to describe you two. It's more I don't know how to describe me and her.
Oh, I didn't even really think about that.
Yeah, it's not really that he's not. He knows they're partners. He's just like, we've never really talked about that. We just are like we've just latched onto each other and that's it, sort of thing. At least that's how I view it. Because he's very, very standoffish to define it at all points. Every time someone asks him, when Ellie asks him, how did you and Tess? And he's like, pass. Like, nope, we're not doing that. But regardless, I loved their little conversation here. Where Bill's like, yeah, we're all self-sufficient out here. Like we're good. And Joel's like, yeah, sure. But that fence there, done in like a year. I could get you 10 spools of aluminum tensile fucking strength, whatever the fuck, and you'll be good.
He's conning him here?
No.
You think it's real? Okay, I didn't know. Maybe like a little. I didn't know if it was just like Joel was like, all right, this dude's got some good shit here. We really need this. But like, I think he was like, he actually saw a problem.
This is the most genuine Joel's gotten in the show, besides at the beginning with his daughter. Whenever he's like, it's the only way he can show he cares about anybody. I'm going like, like, I see you got a problem here. That'll be done. You can have this set up for the rest of your lives. He's like, I see what you got going on here. And the meeting ends well with Frank proposing a music-based radio code to Tess, suggesting 80s music could signal trouble. And as soon as I heard that, I texted you and I went, fuck, 80s music means trouble? No. And Joel tells Bill, and this is again perfect, just pairing them off, Frank and Tess talking about a code system and how they're going to work everything out and how everything's going to be all hunky-dory and they'll be perfect together. And Joel tells Bill, Fedra won't come, you're good. The infected won't come, you're good. But there are people out there who will want what you have. Raiders, they'll come by night. They'll come armed. You should be mindful of them. And Bill's like, we'll be fine. And just love that these two obviously see something in each other that is, they're protectors, like, and they say as much later. Like, that's just, I love the tiny connection they make here.
Because Frank gives Tess like maybe a pistol or something. I don't know, a small gun. He says a small one. But like Tess gets I felt like she got like a lot more. I felt like she got like a pack as well, and then they got strawberry, for the strawberry seeds or whatever. But like it was not like they kind of made that deal like behind each other's backs, It was just the whole like couple, like the double date thing that was going on. Just it's and perfect. Then the new, because like Frank and Bill are like a new couple, so it's like it's cute just seeing anything with them together, now even their fights, so.
There's this great depiction of double dates in the movie Crazy Rich Asians, where the main characters are on a double date with a couple who's about to be married, and the guys silo off and talk to each other at the same table. They like bend over and talk to each other like this, and the ladies bend over and talk to each other on the other side of the table, where they're having two separate conversations. Nobody's talking. They're not talking as a group. They're talking to each other, and that's exactly what played out here, which was just outstanding. But we do then go to 2013. So another 3 years down the line. This is 8 years, I believe, 6 years after Frank walked into Bill's hole in the ground. But the outer fences become even more fortified with stronger traps and a wall of cars. Don't know how he managed that, but boy did he. And Frank takes Bill on a run through the town, which I thought was super cute because Bill is having a tough time and Frank is trucking.
Oh, I didn't even think. Yeah, the 3-year jump after like being with Joel, and like now they have their like trade relationship. So like that 3 years, that's how his base got better, was like just through Joel. I didn't even like duh. Like his flamethrowers all out there, and like the fence is like super gay. It's like, oh yeah, it's like the code now to the fence. Oh yeah, Joel hooked him up, dude. Joel hooked him the fuck up. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, I guess 3. Yeah, about 3.
That's more than enough time.
And what year is present, or what year are we in? So it is like present.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeesh.
Fleeky.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's been about 3 years. So nevertheless, they're going on a run here, and Frank has a little surprise for Bill. He's like, I want to show you something. Bill goes, huh? And he goes, not that. And Bill goes, huh? Which I thought was so fucking funny, and again, just adorable. I absolutely love these guys. And
was it as in like he was wanting to, or like as in like no way I would be able to after this run right now?
Oh, I didn't even consider that.
Because he was running, he was like, when are we stopping, you know?
I took it as like a treat at the end of the run. Less so than like, I don't know that I'll be able to. I took it as like maybe this will be worth it. And then he goes, not that. You know, like, because there's definitely a disappointed grunt.
That's
after
true.
He says no.
That is true.
But I'm incredibly thankful that I'm in the happiest relationship of my life watching this. Because if I was single, sorry to all the single folks who are enjoying this show, because this had to be hell.
I didn't think about that. Yeah, it was really nice watching. You know, just with someone. We bawled our eyes out together. You know, it was an experience.
I'm praying.
Oh
Emily
my
will
God.
want to watch this, because I'm like I could just sit there and be like, I saw a tweet that was like, how am I going to sleep at night knowing I'll never have what Frank and Bill have? I was like, I feel pretty good about my situation, so I don't have worries like that. But if I was single, something like this used to just absolutely fuck me up, you know?
Hey, but that's if you are single, you will find that person, and you will have these moments eventually.
It could be the apocalypse.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
it could be 4 years after the apocalypse has taken hold. Somebody's out there. But nevertheless, what he was leading him to on this run was a nice little garden of strawberries that he'd planted using seeds provided by Joel and Tess, traded for one of Bill's guns. Which gun? A small one. Don't worry. And they go ahead and take a bite of the strawberries. And this moment alone could have earned Nick Offerman the performance nod for me. This man can act his ass off in regards to acting like he hasn't eaten a strawberry in 10 plus years.
Dude, you're right. They did like
the way they like giggle, like he takes a bite and he's like, like, I haven't tasted this in 10 years. Like that's what this episode is so fucking good at. Taking like all the things we take for granted in day-to-day life, a nice shower, 5 more minutes, please. The taste of a strawberry, fucking tampons. You know, like all these things are just things that in an apocalypse would go away. And now they're getting to earn those things back. And it's like, it's just so sweet to see them react to it.
Like, this episode was good in its own self, in a vacuum. Obviously, we all know this. It like, the way it enhanced episode 2, it like also enhanced itself even more because it enhanced episode 2. And like, it's just like, I love yin yang. Like, there's for all good, there is bad, you know, there's a balance to everything. I like that. And, you know, we got that balance. You got the absolute worst of worst, you know, seeing how a couple could end in the apocalypse. And then we see how a couple can be very fulfilled and satisfied, and both, you know, the complete opposite end. And like, Frank's whole thing was flowers, paint, not you know, it's also important for those resources to go to things that we like. not
Mhm.
just to survive. You know, that
Not
is
just to
also important. You know, like I don't know, like
getting by isn't the same as being fulfilled.
yes,
It's not. And
exactly.
yeah, good point. I hadn't even considered that, but yeah, this is when I started to just break, is when Bill goes, "I'm sorry."
Mhm.
And Frank's like, "What for?" And he says, "Getting older faster than you are." And Frank going, this is my favorite line of the episode. "I like you older. Older means we're still here." And I was just like, oh my God. I started there, and then he gets even more vulnerable with him going like, "I was never afraid before you showed up."
There's my line.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know the exact wording. I was waiting for it. But oh my God, because it's totally right. It's it's like what his character development is. He
Mhm.
was the jackboot. I will kill anybody, you know, who steps on my doorstep to like, I am now crying to you. I am now like, you know,
I wasn't afraid to die, and now I'm afraid I could lose you. Or
man.
I could be taken away from you. I
And,
don't want you to suffer that pain.
and it
Because
was,
that's what he's saying. Like, I don't want to die before you because I don't want you to know what the pain of my loss would be like. I'm sorry, I'm getting older than you are. Like, that just tore me the fuck up.
man. Yeah. And was the wording of Bill the line, it was, I was never afraid before you, or I was never afraid just
I was never afraid before you showed up.
showed up. That's right. Yeah, I mean, man, it was. You're right. It was really the strawberry patch, and then from that moment on, it's just
It's over. It's
oh,
over for me, man. I am sobbing, but that leads into one rainy night where a group of raiders is approaching, attempting to ambush the compound, only to set off a few more of Bill's traps, setting one of them ablaze. And Frank wakes up and is like, "Fuck, where's Bill? Where's Bill?" "Don't worry, Frank. He's already outside gunning motherfuckers down." Kind of crazy of him to just be standing out there, but it is what it is.
he's got the sniper and got the. I mean, dude, you're a prepper. You'd think you'd have some nest
Some barrier or something.
out. It's
I'll
TV.
take
He
it.
needed to get shot. He needed
He
to get
needed to get
taken. You
shot,
know, whatever.
especially for the faux pas they throw at us later. But regardless, Bill is out there defending the compound when Frank goes out there and inadvertently, accidentally distracts him into being shot. And Frank has to drag Bill back into the house while the traps finish off the rest of the raiders. And as Frank goes ahead and tends to Bill's wounds, Bill is like, "All right, this is what you need to do. I need you to be able to take care of yourself. This is what's going to happen." I thought he was done. I'm sobbing. I'm still teary-eyed. I'm not sobbing yet. I'm still teary-eyed, right? And then he goes, "Call Joel. Joel will take care of you. Joel will take care of you, I promise." And I lost it. I was like, "Oh my fucking God."
I was confused here because I was like,
"He'll protect you."
yeah, and I didn't know what to feel here because I'm like, Frank is kind of doing, you know, it's like he's prepared for this. Frank has been prepared for Bill to get shot, and he's like, because Bill's like, "Hey, I have a list," and Frank's like, "Take me through the list." You know, he's very calm during this situation. You know, he's like, "All right, take me through the list," and I think he knows he's going to pass out. Like that he's been through this. You know, it's like, if I get shot and I am, you know, bleeding a lot, like, I will pass out from the pain. It is going to happen. So like, I will get loopy. Don't freak out. I will pass out. You know, I don't know. Maybe like that's what he told him. And because Frank is chill the whole time, even when he's like called, you know, like very, very on the very end of his, you know, right before he passes out.
I think it's kind of a,
He needs
if you're
to
in a couple, one of you needs to be calm. If you're in a pairing, one of you needs to be the level head, regardless of what situation you're in. And one of you will be the level head. Like, that's just a guarantee. I think in this moment, Frank's every survival instinct that Bill has ever instilled in him kicked in, and he was ready to protect the man who's protected him. You know, like, it was beautiful. I absolutely loved that scene. But it ends with a fade to black and us opening in August of 2023. So a mere month or less before where we're at in the present timeline.
It's only a month.
It's less than a month. It's early September.
No. I kind of thought it was like just. Oh, I guess it's because they had the mute. Oh my god, no! It had to have been.
Yeah, it had to be recent, and it also the flowers outside. The last thing we see Bill do is actually water those flowers, and those flowers aren't completely dead yet.
Oh my god! And that's how Joel looks at them, and he knows that
he's
because
like,
the flowers are dead, that something's wrong. Oh no!
But 10 years later, we see Frank sitting alone in a wheelchair on the porch, and that's when I went, no, fuck, no. And then Bill walks out right behind him, and I'm like, okay, cool. And due to I believe it's multiple sclerosis that's doing this to Frank, if I'm not mistaken. It seems like MS. It's affecting his motor skills like crazy. His paintings are getting more abstract. He can't walk. But he spends most of his days painting while Bill maintains their plants and such and takes care of the neighborhood, which I think is fucking adorable. But Frank finally declares, after a full night spent in bed where he did not fall asleep, that today will be his last day. And Bill proposes finding a doctor, but Frank's like, even when this wasn't the situation in the world, this didn't have a cure. There's nothing.
That's what I was. Yeah, it's like he kind of knows. Like, I don't know. That's why I was like, he knows it didn't have a cure, so he just like I was just thinking like cancer the whole time.
Cancer, yeah, cancer was a natural leap to make. It was the leap I made for a while until like just more of the signs he was showing.
That's right. The painting and yeah, that's okay. I'm more with you there now.
Yeah. But because
I guess
I thought maybe
it doesn't matter. I
thought it was like maybe like a tumor in his back at first because of the lack of walking. But then when his motor skills were like he can't even eat or drink, it has to be like like it's a different deal. But he comforts Bill by saying this is what we're gonna do on our last day. We'll go to the boutique and I'll pick you out a set of clothes. You will wear them. We'll get rings and we'll get married. You will serve me dinner, and at the end of the night, you will take this package of pills, mix them into my wine, and I will fall asleep in your arms. Whew. And nobody.
Like the 3 buildings that he asked to fix in the very beginning with the ones that they are. Come on. Oh my god, it's already starting, it's like it already like you get the little, you're like, okay, and like their relationship, it's like so unique, and we've just met them, but every line that they say to each other, it's so them, like it's already them, and we've just been with them this episode. It's insane how much, like, I already feel like I know their relationship. It's so, I don't know, it's insane that this is an episode of television and not an entire movie. Like, the feelings that I have, like, this episode is like what I would feel like after a 2-hour movie. It
is a fucking short film. This is the power of a bottle episode. Just give me, if you can do this because there's like it's an hour and 15-minute episode. There are a good 10 minutes spent with Joel and Ellie before, and a good almost 10 minutes after. This is 55 minutes of them. And it is some of the most resonant storytelling I have ever watched in my life. Like, I'm in awe of their relationship, and that makes me emotional. I've never had a just piece of television thinking about how good it is make me like, I'm like, wow. I can't believe they pull off what they pull off in this episode. I'm thoroughly convinced. I'm going to have to give recency bias a chance to wear off. This might be my single favorite episode of television I've ever watched.
That's what I was trying to think, is like, what other single episode?
I'm like, One Way Out fucked me up. Sure. In Andor. not like this. Like, I loved that episode, and I love the finale of Andor, and I love all sorts of Star Wars television, and I love a bunch of episodes of Game of Thrones. And I loved Game of Thrones. I would consider it my favorite series of all time. The Sopranos, right up there with it. Not a single episode of either one of those shows made me feel the way that this episode of television felt. And like I said, 10s across the board. It's easy. It's
without a doubt. Yeah, without a doubt. But I mean, it's insane that this is episode 3 of 9. And that's what I'm most curious is, like, 1/3 of the episodes that we've got, or 2/3 of the episodes that we've gotten have been bangers, and I've cried, one way more than the other. I don't know. Next episode will be very interesting to see, like, if they continue.
I don't think we're gonna get an Andor situation.
No, like, not arcs. I mean, just like
no. I know. I mean, what happened with Andor is we got to an episode and went, no way they top this. And then they did. I genuinely don't believe there is any fucking chance that they come close to this. And that's not to say that any other episodes won't be fucking amazing. That's just how good this episode was. Like, I'm sitting here, we talked about Andor that way, and now I'm sitting here going, this is better than any episode of Andor. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no, like, if they do, I will happily
That's what I was going to say. Is like,
television ever.
If they somehow, I don't know what they could even, it has to be like the finale. I don't know. I don't even know what that would even mean to be better than this. But
I'm nervous for what it would mean, buddy, because there's a reason this fucked me up, and it's because it's the full life story. And if we have to see someone important to this show, and I don't know that I'm ready for that. But Bill does oblige Frank's request, and he even serves his longtime partner the exact same meal of rabbit and wine from the day that they had first met all those years ago. And this whole montage, them picking out the clothes, getting married at the piano, this is my scene. This and the dinner.
Yeah. It is the scene. I don't think there's
zero doubt in my fucking mind.
No.
Just had to be the case. I am just a fucking puddle in my bed at this point, just sobbing and sobbing and sobbing. And I'm sitting there like, God, I don't know the last time I felt this watching a thing. As far as the heartbreak, but also fulfillment, because when we get here and the time comes for the wine, and Bill mixes the crushed pills into the glass, and Frank downs it. Bill then pours himself a glass and downs it at the same speed. And I'm not going to lie to you. When he walked out there with that bottle, he came in from the kitchen. Frank wasn't in there with him. I went, they're both done.
Yep. Oh, yeah. I in my head, I was like, this is the way that Frank wants to go out, and, I'm good.
This is the way Bill wants to go out. Then, that's what he says when he gives this monologue. And when Frank asks, there were sleeping pills already in the wine, huh? And he goes, enough to kill a horse. I broke even more if it was possible to break more. And then he went he gave that monologue where he goes, I'm old, I'm satisfied, and you were my purpose. And my fucking God, bro, I'm having a tough time just talking about it now. That was outstanding.
The word purpose, I remember hearing that word.
Letting out like a fucking gasp and
yeah. Oh yeah.
And a little choke.
And even like Frank's reaction too. He was like, I should be furious, but from an objective
standpoint, it is so romantic.
And I gave a little laugh. It was like a laugh but a cry. It like broke me even further. It's like a laugh but crying.
It's the craziest thing that this isn't necessarily sad. Like the way that they pulled it off, it's the most bittersweet moment I've ever watched on screen. Like I'm like, I don't want to see them go, but goddamn, is it romantic? I feel the same way Frank does in this moment. It's so fucking good. And the way it ends with Frank saying, "Take me to bed."
Mm-hmm.
Outstanding. And the idea that Bill had to have already wrote this letter.
Yep.
And he's a prepper.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he prepared for that.
That when?
Oh, it had to have been
When?
that day.
Okay.
Yeah, like it's not like he prepped like that. No, like he wrote it. I'm assuming he wrote it when he was making dinner. Took a little extra time to make some dinner, but was actually writing that letter to whomever, but probably Joel. But oh man, but that does end the just best part of an episode of television I've ever watched, and it brings us to an arrival in Lincoln where weeks have passed and it's become overgrown with neglect. Flowers are wilting, and Joel and Ellie arrive at the compound to find a house seemingly empty, though Joel notices the bedroom door is locked. And Ellie looks around the house, noticing the rotting remains of Bill and Frank's last meal, and finds a letter Bill left for whomever, but probably Joel. She assumed she fell under whomever. And in the note, Bill explains that his and Frank's bodies are in the bedroom. He says, "Please don't open the door. It's probably quite a sight, but we did leave the window open so it wouldn't stink up the house." And he explains that he used to hate the world and was happy when it ended. And there was only one person worth saving when he found his purpose, Frank. And he tells Joel that people like the two of them have a duty to protect the people worth saving. And he tells him, "You have to protect." And Ellie can't keep going. And that's when Joel decides that he's going to take the letter. And that's when the last episode is enhanced like crazy. That's when I'm like, oh my God, I'm a fucking wreck.
And
okay.
Like Ellie, she didn't say Tess because
Yeah.
whatever. But
Joel
like Joel told her
even
before
more
that was like, you don't bring her up anymore.
Yep.
And then so
it
she
wasn't
gets
because she was uncomfortable saying, or like,
Yep.
oh no, it's because she didn't want to say it to Joel.
Mhm.
Like, oh, it's so good. And briefly
he takes a moment, like he like just walks outside, and just like has a moment to himself. Like he just takes the letter.
I was praying. It didn't happen. This is the closest Joel can come to expressing himself. I was praying he'd drop to his knees or something. Just anything to show me he feels.
Because I was like, he lost Tess right there, and then now he finds out that his only other friends, he probably doesn't have anyone else other than Tommy, and Tommy's probably dead too now. Like, who knows what the fuck happened to Tommy? Like, oh my God, everyone in his life is gone now besides Ellie. And it's like, I can't wait to see.
And this is when, after the words of Tess and after the words of Bill, is when I think he is finally like, I will protect Ellie. Like he was just doing it as like, I didn't promise Tess, but Tess wanted me to. This is now Bill has now given him purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Our purpose is to protect, and now you have to do it. And therein he's going to protect Tess's last wish at the very least, and Ellie.
He took a breath. Man, he just, instead of acting on instinct and just,
he
went
outside and took a breath.
Man.
Yep. But they go ahead, take everything they need, find everything they want to take. And Joel declares that he's going to lay some ground rules from this point on. Oh, this is when he says to never mention Tess again.
Oh, okay.
So that was genuinely from a place of, I thought that happened at the beginning of the episode for some reason. But
yeah, me too. Huh.
She can never tell anyone about the bite mark, as most people will not take the time to hear her out. And she needs to do everything he tells her. And Ellie agrees. And they head down to the sub-basement. They find everything they need. Still blasting 80s music. The system was automatically set to start playing the Trouble playlist if it was not reset every few weeks. And Ellie once again asks Joel if she can take one of Bill's... I didn't even fucking think that it just hadn't been reset in a few weeks. That's why it started playing 80s music.
Oh, at the end of the first episode.
Yeah.
It wasn't even the Fireflies, actually.
They'd been dead for a couple weeks, yeah.
But that was the first time it played 80s music, though.
Yeah, it's been running on a loop for a couple weeks. That's what it was set to do.
I thought. Oh, okay. I thought it was like if it wasn't reset after a couple weeks, then play 80s music. Or is it?
Yes, and it wasn't. And because they died a few weeks before.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it does. So you're saying
music.
It does line up. I got you.
Yeah.
Got you.
It started playing 80s music because they died a few weeks ago.
Oh man, because I thought the 80s music was in response to like the Fireflies are about to.
It just means trouble.
Yeah, I thought it was like in response to that for some reason, but no, it's just Bill and like it's there. It's only theirs.
Only them.
Their code. Yeah. Oh.
Them. But they rummage through the house and they both take a nice little shower. And Ellie finds Frank's gun in a drawer. And when she hears Joel approaching, she quickly hides it. And she gives him a little shit about looking all cute. And he's like, "Shut up." And they hop in the car. And she's like, "Wow." And he's like, "You never been in a car before?" And he's like, "Yeah." She's like, "Yep, it's like a spaceship." He's like, "No, it's like a shitty Chevy from 03, but whatever, it'll get the job done." And after a while, she finds some music, and the tape turns out to be "Long, Long Time" by Linda Ronstadt. And Joel, she's like, "I'm going to change it." And Joel goes, "No, this is the shit right there. That's Linda Ronstadt. Let that play.
You better not touch that fucking stereo. You turn that down or no, you're out of here. I'm actually taking back my promise if you turn this radio off right now, and I won't."
Well, and I don't think...
But
I think this resonates. This is a song for Joel. Like, I don't think they left it for Joel or anything, but it makes the most sense to Joel's story. Listen to the lyrics here. "Love will abide, take things in stride. It sounds like good advice, but there's no one at my side. Time washes clean, wounds left unseen. That's what someone told me, but I don't know what it means. Because I've done everything I know to try and make you mine, and I think I'm going to love you for a long, long time." That could be in reference to his daughter. That could be in reference to Tess. It's just...
Jeez. No, man.
Yeah.
It's only getting better and better. You see, like, that's the thing.
And we already agreed 10s across the board.
Oh yeah. I don't think that that's much of a debate. I don't think, like, I hope that they keep like the 10s in the genre. I think that's very doable for them. Kind of every episode, if they just keep the world
maintain their world. Yeah,
the world's just that cool that I think it's so easy for them. But man, I think I'm with you on. I don't think that they can top this. Maybe it's like they knew they knew this episode was good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't make, like, I don't know. They knew this episode was good.
First one where they've apparently the first 2 episodes are like shot for shot video game. This one, Bill and Frank are a tiny role in the video game, and they went ahead and gave them an entire fucking backstory. And it was like, the Neil Druckmann described it as a no-brainer. He was like, as soon as I read it, it was one of the best things I'd ever read. And I was like, wow, this is exactly what should happen here. And
they got a good system going over there.
They do. There's something in the water at HBO. And
that's the thing.
It's fucking incredible.
A lot of video games have just really good stories. Like Jedi Fallen Order. That's the thing, is like, if you haven't played the game, you just have no idea. But if you play the game, you just know that you just basically sat through a way longer Star Wars movie and you got to play it. Yeah. And it's like, so if you love the universe already, it's like, it's so cool. But to see it come the other way and to see it come into Hollywood, into the mainstream, is way cooler, but especially when it's done right. Like, that's the thing. The Assassin's Creed, I think it was a movie, came out, and it was just like, it was cheesy. It's like, okay, whatever. We do have things like Arcane now on Netflix, which is really, really good. Critically, like, I haven't watched it, but people hold that in very, very high esteem.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd say this is like one of the only other video game, other than Cyberpunk maybe, that has actually come to the mainstream media and done well. And they've just stuck with the video game is the thing. The story is good. Like, in these video games, like, I don't know.
It seems like they're only going to expand where they
Yeah.
feel like it can improve the story, not where they're just like, let's just take a bunch of random fucking liberties. No, this was a liberty they took, and it was kind of a fucking risk. The gaming community is not exactly the most loving of people who are not white straight dudes. And to introduce them to a gay couple, and there's a lot of random things I've seen online where it's like, oh, this felt forced. 2 out of 10. I don't like it. I'm like, you might not even realize it, but this is homophobic. This is one of the best episodes of TV ever, and the only thing that's holding you back from liking it is that it's 2 guys.
Yeah. Like, if this was a straight couple, you would have said that this was one of the most epic displays of romanticism ever on screen.
And frankly, I straight up don't think it would be as good as a straight. Part of the resonance of this is the fact that Bill had probably realized his sexuality, but had never gotten a chance to act on it while everyone was alive. He got a second chance to be happy with the person he wanted to be happy with, the people he wanted to be happy with. Like, there's something about this that just hits on so many levels. And again, 10s across the board. This season is off to an incredible start. I'm just floored. Floored.
Sad to see the IMDb ratings.
Probably review bombed.
Yeah, very heavily. 51% of the votes are 10s. 28, almost 30% are 1s. 30% of the votes. So yeah, it's like a little ridiculous, but on Rotten Tomatoes, audience score of 93, critic score of 96. Critically better, like, that's the thing. If it is critically better than the audience score,
it got a little review bombed, probably.
Yeah. So
I think, but I think we're gonna have to wrap this up. This is definitely clocking in at over 3 hours. We'll try to be a little bit better about time management next time with episodes 4 through 6, unless they're just that good, in which case we will go ahead and give it 3 hours to breathe. But with that, we will conclude this episode of the Penny Bloom Podcast. If you would, head to patreon.com/pennybloom-pod, where you'll find over 50 hours of exclusive content, including a new poll list coming out later this week for comic books, a bunch of movie reviews, a bunch of book reviews, a lot of stuff over there. For $3 a month, you can support this podcast financially, which is a huge help because it costs me money and I don't make any unless it's over there. Any off the podcast. I do have a job, for the record. Head to Twitter, follow @PennyBloomPod, follow on Instagram @PennyBloomPodcast. I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. And remember, peace, love, and bloom. And take me to bed.